Welcome back to Movie Dumpster Season 7, Episode 11. Today we're talking about Dog Soldiers from 2002, directed by Neil Marshall. And we're going to find out this is one of the best independent werewolf movies of all time. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
Listen up, dumpster dwellers. I'm going to make sure you're the best watchers on this platform. We're going to talk about dogs. We're going to talk about soldiers. We're going to talk about eyebrows joining in the middle. I expect nothing but gratuitous viewing from the lot of you. I'm Sergeant Smith.
Welcome to the dumpster. Button Hut!
At ease.
Okay.
Oh, thank God.
Whew.
Another episode. We haven't said this in a couple months.
Yeah.
Well, a long ass time coming. This feels like an episode we've been trying to get fucking on the docket for since Connor was on the show. Put it that way.
My man, we were talking about this on the 21st anniversary, 20th anniversary. Now we're at
19th anniversary.
Yeah.
where are we at, the 22nd now?
I believe so.
All right.
Long time.
We've been talking about this for a long time, and, you know...
to the point where I didn't watch it until we finally did the damn episode, and everyone's looking at me like, why'd you wait so long, Sean?
Well,
exactly.
It's also one of those things too where we talk about it all the time. You know, we talk about it on our live shows. We don't really say it on full episodes, but
True.
This is not our job.
Well, right, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we only work on the show in our spare time, which are nights and weekends.
Right.
So
yeah.
we try to get it all in there, and we're going down the list of stuff that we've been promising for a long time, and this is one of them for sure. And it's going to be a fucking doozy.
Well, we had to have CB. That was also the antithesis.
Yes.
Get Mr. CB here, Sergeant CB, excuse me, and break
Don't
it down
you
for
fucking
us.
salute at me. I am not an officer.
Well, I used the left hand. It wasn't really an actual salute, so
I don't see any badges or decorations,
sir.
Like, fuck, goddamn it.
I'm supposed to say, don't call me sir. That was the setup. You blew it.
Don't call me sir.
Thank you.
I work for a living.
Thank you.
Ah.
Yeah.
From the movies, starring the military.
Yes.
It's good to be back, guys. It's good to be back.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on, dude. This is going to be a fun one. We got all kinds of surprises in this episode. One of us actually might be a werewolf, unbeknownst to the other one. Who knows?
Don't lift up my shirt.
You're hairy where it counts, I'm sure.
Damn.
He absolutely is hairy where it counts.
Well, not where it counts, unfortunately.
Well, you got the rest of the body. Just shave it off and transplant it.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm considering that.
Looks good.
Glue.
Strong stuff.
But yeah, before we get into our carnivorous lunar activities, if you want some more Movie Dumpster content, you can head over to patreon.com/Movie Dumpster. You can get an ad-free audio version of the show for as little as $2 a month. Show your support for the show. If you want to join up for the $5 or $10 tiers, we got commentary tracks, watch-alongs, a whole giant back catalog of stuff, hours and hours of extra content if you want to be on there. You also get sticker packs, t-shirts, all kinds of good stuff, live watch-alongs with us. If you want to support the show, that'd be a great way to do it. It's support your favorite show.
And if you're watching here on YouTube, please like the video and share it, and subscribe if you're not already. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, leave us a like and a 5-star rating, and even a review if you have time. It really does help us get out of the bottom of the dumpster into more eardrums, eyeballs, and everything in between. And spread the word. Grow in this dumpster community. Let's get it bigger. Come on.
Yeah, man, and those reviews really, really help. Again, if you cannot support the show financially, please leave that review. They really, really do help. It helps get this show out to more people. But if you want some other stuff, you can head over to MovieDumpsterPodcast.com. We got a store there. We got a calendar. We got a bunch of events coming up. We have VHS Fest coming up in July, and we have Monster Mania Con coming up in August. So check that calendar, mark it off, and we'll see you there.
If you don't like and subscribe, I will smoke the dog shit out of you.
Don't fuck with this guy.
Yeah.
He ain't kidding.
Oh,
That dog shit's coming out, dude.
Oh, hush, hush.
The dog soldier shit.
The thing is, I wasn't even, that strict of a sergeant. I was just, I'm much more of a dad figure. I would make you do push-ups and then talk about how disappointed I am in you.
Oh.
Sometimes.
So you were a daddy.
100%.
He made you do it, but he wasn't harsh about it.
Yeah, you signed a waiver.
You
right?
did.
Right?
He signed his fucking life away, yes.
Did you or did you not get counseled on this 2 months ago on the very thing that you just did? You did? Okay, cool. Half right face, front leaning, rest position move.
Son of a bitch.
Pretty much.
So Dog Soldiers, guys. Man, I remember vividly Smith and I were just talking about this. I remember vividly when I saw the commercial for this on Sci-Fi Channel. I was at my buddy Tim's house. I was sitting in a white leather recliner, and this came on the television, and it was like, holy shit, look at this awesome werewolf movie that's coming out. And Sci-Fi, it was like the premiere, the U.S. premiere of it.
Like, yeah, like I don't remember the actual premiere or any of the commercials for that, but I do remember it like constantly being shown on the Sci-Fi Channel, which was like how I first discovered it. I'm sure everyone else first discovered it. Going into Dog Soldiers is not based on a book, but there was a book on the making of it released about a year or two ago by Janine Pipe. And she talked about how she first saw Dog Soldiers at a bar in England. And she was like, what the hell is this movie? It's amazing.
Really? In the bar? That's kind of an interesting one to throw on in the pub.
Because it got theatrical release in the UK, I would assume. Yeah.
So this was obviously years later then.
Yeah.
Just on USA or whatever the equivalent. I'm assuming they have USA in Europe, but just airing.
Well, some kind of equivalent.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
unless they had the DVD they were popping in at the bar. I don't
know. This was such like a sleeper hit. Right, because like I don't know if they expected it to do as well as it did, but like even on the Sci-Fi Channel, it was great. And then when the DVD came out, it was like the fully uncut version of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, right, because you could only show so much on TV, even at the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But like that was at a time when we were still watching TV, and like things were premiering on TV channels, and you had to fucking tune in, or you didn't see that thing until it came to video.
Set your TiVo up. That era.
Yeah, there was TiVo. Yeah, for
early
sure.
2000s, we had it.
Yeah, 2002. Yeah,
I didn't have TiVo.
Well, me personally, it was the general we.
Not everybody. Yeah, mankind.
Somebody had it.
I'm sorry, Sean. Some of us aren't so lucky.
You know what I had? I had my dad who would. I've talked about this before. He'd have the timer set.
The VCR
timer. He's like the only person on earth that knew how those fucking timers worked. Yeah. He definitely wasn't getting up at 4 a.m. He knew exactly how to set that up.
I was definitely still recording shit on tape from TV in 2002.
Early 2000s. Yeah, that's 100%. What I'm saying.
I was also ripping tapes from the video store.
At
the time,
my dad had moved on to the library at that point.
Yeah, well, I had DVD too, but like there were still a bunch of movies that were on tape that I didn't have, and weren't on DVD at the time. And that was before the video stores went out of business, so that was the only way you can get them. You know?
Yeah, and especially with this film, like you're talking about, it's like that DVD had to be kind of rare. With that all said, I would imagine.
I remember I picked up my copy off Best Buy in like 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was a cheapo one too. Like the graininess and everything was still there, and everything was dark and shadows.
I think it was like still 4:3, maybe even. Like
just about.
I had the original DVD that we were talking about, with like the 3 wolves on the cover, and it was like white. We'll show a picture of it on YouTube. But then I remember picking up this steelbook over here, which is still just a DVD, but that's like the special edition that came out after the Descent came out.
We'll talk about that briefly when we get to Neil, but
yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of like the backgrounds of the movie. I mean, this is your first time seeing it?
Yeah, I mean, again, we've been talking about this movie. I literally just said it, but we've been talking about this for years, and a fan actually sent us a copy through our junk mail series on Patreon, a Blu-ray copy. Thank you very much. And so I watched that. Incredible transfer, by the way. I'm curious about the 4K. I'm sure it looks even better. But yeah, first time viewing it. Talking about it for years. Connor and Smith and yourself hounding me over text message and in person. You should watch this fucking movie. I'm waiting for the show, guys. Years later, finally watched it.
Yeah, man. That's the DVD that came out after the Descent dropped. And then this over here that you just mentioned, the 4K, is the Shout Factory 4K, which I believe was released 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At this point.
I was so excited. It's the only 4K I ever bought because I don't have a 4K player.
Yeah.
But it's got the Blu-ray in it. And it came with a poster, and I was like, well, it's like one of my favorite movies, so I got to do this. Yeah.
I got to say the transfer is really good on it. I think it's as good as it can be from the original negative of the camera. And what I appreciate about this release is that it retains all the graininess to it.
Because I don't know if that Blu-ray actually did after just watching it. I guess I'd have to see a side by side. I could be wrong.
No, it kept the film grain. And what I mean by that is like it wasn't like digitally scrubbed out.
Oh,
like
no,
some other titles we were talking about, like I don't know, James Cameron's Aliens.
Oh yeah, off camera. Yeah, we were talking about that. The Abyss and all that shit that came out. Yeah.
I would say though the Blu-ray does make it a little bit brighter.
Yes.
And that did, like, I'm very nostalgic because I've watched this movie dozens of times growing up, before I enlisted, after I enlisted. And so, like, the OG cheapo DVD is still ingrained in my brain. So watching it on Blu-ray for the first time, I was like, huh.
It's too clear.
I don't like, the werewolves are too clear. No.
That's why we need that 4K home sweet home so we can actually see what the fuck's happening.
We can see Mistake get fucking killed by that electric guitar.
We could see him, his fucking white face paint. We could make him out. It's everybody else in that damn forest we can't make out.
No, yeah, with the body slam on the hood.
Yeah, we need the 4K to see what the fuck's happening with Body by Jake.
Sign me up.
Getting chased by a werewolf, I think. Liam Cunningham's out there somewhere.
Dude, I don't know, man. Jake Steinfeld's gonna fucking body this werewolf, probably.
Right over the knee!
Yeah.
Leatherface style.
Break him in half. Pump P-head.
Right, yeah, P-head to Leatherface. Thank you.
But yeah, with that being said, I want to get into Neil Marshall for a little bit, and then we can talk about any behind-the-scenes stuff you guys have that you want to add. Neil Marshall, man. The man responsible for The Descent. This is his freshman effort. Okay, this is his first movie.
It's crazy.
Dog Soldiers. And then his next one, his follow-up is, of course, The Descent, which got wide theatrical release in the U.S. I remember seeing that in theater and being absolutely scared out of my fucking wits. You want to talk about, like, a perfect horror movie? I think that's one of... I think I'd say that's a perfect horror movie.
It keeps coming up lately.
Yeah, we've been talking about
on the show. I feel like now that we finally covered his first... Well, he actually has a movie before this. I think it doesn't even rank.
Well, they're short films.
Short films, okay.
Yeah. So this is his feature. When I say first feature, this is his first feature length.
Got you. But... like, we've talked about The Descent so much, and now that we've covered this, it's like, we need to just do that, because that is a fucking movie, and I didn't see it in theaters, but I remember at a friend's house watching it on rental, and it was scary as shit, and
it still
need
is.
to revisit that thing.
Still is, dude.
Not to take away from Dog Soldiers, but The Descent is just something else.
We wouldn't have it without this movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I think of The Descent, I always think of the scene where, like, she's stuck and she can't move, much more than the bat monsters.
That's
like,
the scariest part.
That is, like, yeah, because, like, that's something tangible that, like, you can feel. And it definitely, like, just thinking back now, I'm just like, ooh. And then I remember the sequel where, like, everything's bright and you can see everything and it's bad. And I was like, ah.
The point was lost.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's not a sequel to The Descent. There's only that one pristine movie.
I wish.
I'd add something else, too, of the Neil Marshall, because we have here The Making of Dog Soldiers, Sausages by Janine Pipe. And in this book, she interviews just about everyone that she can. And we learned that Neil Marshall, in order to get funding for this movie, he made like a little short teaser of like the idea. And there's not really any werewolves in that, but it's just like trying to make like the right camera angles and the soldiers are all fighting and everything. Just trying to like as a proof of concept for
to make the movie.
For funding, for investors. Yeah. That was the word. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the camera work in this film is pretty incredible, especially some of these like Dutch angles and POV shots that he introduces. Like, there's some Evil Dead kind of POV that we get to later on in the film, but there's even like cool stuff where like they're looking down the rifle scope and you kind of see the POV of that. I like shit like that.
It's a lot of handheld type, kinetic.
Kinetic's a good word.
And around the same time, well, I think when 28 Days Later comes out in 2008.
I don't have the timeline in front of me. I think it might actually be
28 Days
sooner.
Later, 7?
Yeah, because I did mention that earlier that they felt kind of similar to me. I don't know if that's just on a very base level.
From a filmmaking perspective, but like Dog Soldiers isn't fucking green, you know what I mean? Or like that saturated like yellow or, that was hot at the time.
Well, 28 Days Later also had a way bigger budget. They had like those empty streets and shit. Dog Soldiers is like, there's 3 sets, we're making it work.
No, totally, but I just mean the camera work.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Camera style.
The only thing I'll say is like maybe it's a little blue right before it becomes nighttime. That's about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think they're trying to do a lot of
to simulate
day to night
things. And I don't know if we're going to go deep into this, but I did want to mention Neil Marshall also did write and edit this also.
Yeah.
The editing, I think, is very good in some spots. In other spots, I feel like it's a little too quick. And I'm not trying to be the pot calling kettle black here. I'm not a professional editor making Hollywood films. I do edit for a living. And
that makes you a professional editor.
Well, I guess it does, actually, now that I think about it.
If you get paid for it.
What I meant by that is when I watch back these episodes that I've edited, I could see sometimes, that was a little too quick. I should have like rolled that back a little. But I'm not making, 6 figures making my show or whatever it is. So I'm just wondering, sometimes the kinetic editing, I think, works really well in those fight scenes. But sometimes I'm like, all right, this isn't Mad Max Fury Road. We could have maybe like done like a few more seconds on this person instead of 2 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, 1 second. It's like, when we get to some of the scenes, I might bring it up. Specifically in the beginning, there's some scenes where I'm like, whoa, it's too much.
Sean, I want you to look into the camera and say, I am a professional.
I am a professional, god damn it.
Professional editor.
Professional editor.
There we go.
I don't agree, only because I think it fits the narrative and what we're trying to go for, and especially the budget. And we're hiding some of the
That's
some
what I
of
think
the
it
things
is.
here, and also like let's be real here. This is his first feature that he's putting together, which was on not a very high budget, and he basically took on the work of the whole thing. That being said, if you're working on it for 6-7 months a year, editing it, maybe, but
it's not a major criticism, but I felt it was worth
no,
mentioning.
but I think it fits what it is and how it works.
Generally
and
speaking,
they are quicker than normal for some stuff, but I think it works.
I mean, my background isn't in video editing like you guys. My background is the military stuff. I would say that he establishes a lot of things to make it feel very authentic, more than, say, a big budget military movie would be.
Right, it's not Saving Private Ryan. They're trying to get something of that level, at least thematically speaking, with the camera angles and the cuts.
Yeah.
Like,
But that comes through in the dialogue and the way the characters interact with each other and procedurals, I would assume.
like we'll get there. There's like one or two scenes that like really like exemplify that, and we haven't even started talking about the movie itself and the storyline. So I'll save that for later.
Okay.
Yeah.
He also directed a lot of TV. He did like Game of Thrones and the new Lost in Space series.
Game of Thrones specifically, he did 2 of the best episodes, Blackwater and the one that follows that. It's like the big fight between the wildlings and the... Damn, I read all these books and I can't remember the names. The
White
guys on
Walkers?
the wall.
Right.
Jon Snow in the group.
But he
And Blackwater's the big water battle in season 2 with Tyrion and all that shit. The fucking boat explodes. If you know what I'm talking about.
Those are good men out there. Let's go kill them.
Literally.
Yeah, I know.
That's the scene, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of crazy because I think he makes maybe one more movie after The Descent, and then it's all TV up until like a couple years ago.
Well, it seemed like he was like in direct-to-video jail to me.
Well, I don't know. He like did a bunch of TV, and then he did Hellboy.
Oh, yeah.
The Hellboy remake with David Harbour, and then that took a shit.
No.
That might have killed him.
I didn't see that.
I heard it was bad. I didn't see it myself, so it's hard to comment on, but I heard negative things about it.
He just got back in the director's chair for The Lair, which came out in 2022. I wanted to see that it was on my radar, but it just kind of fell off my radar. Because like I was like, oh shit, I want to see that, and then I totally forgot about it, and I haven't heard shit about it, so I need to go back and check that out.
Sure, circle back around.
I think it might be a case of like, I mean, I hope it's good, but like, I think it might be a case of like, you did such a great job with The Descent, and you kind of have to live up to that.
For better or worse.
You know what I mean? For
Yeah,
better or worse.
I get
and keep
that.
trudging through.
I mean, it's hard when you start out strong. It's like hard to keep up that momentum.
The momentum.
You're
yeah.
right.
But he's still working, so that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome.
Good for him.
Do you guys have any other behind the scenes stuff you want to talk about a little bit?
Not stuff that like I'll bring up throughout, and it's basically all stuff that I got from reading Janine's book, which I do give a big shout out to those who want a more in-depth look, because I'm not going to share everything. But yeah, go out and purchase the book Sausages, The Making of Dog Soldiers. Janine is right now an aspiring filmmaker. She's working on a police-based action movie over in the UK. And I believe she is making a making up for The Descent. So that's another one to check out.
Oh, that's going to be cool, man.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Neil's also been trying to get Dog Soldiers 2 off the ground. Is that? I think that's true.
There was originally a plan for a trilogy.
Yeah.
And
but like recently.
Janine doesn't go into full detail, but it basically boils down to he doesn't own the rights.
Gotcha.
Because I read that he just is kind of like, it's besides the point now, but I didn't research beyond that. But I guess that's why.
Yeah. I'd be okay without a sequel.
I think you could totally do it. This concept's pretty original.
No, I agree, but I think that's what makes it unique.
True.
Like, because of that, it's like, well, The Descent is great, but Descent 2 sucks.
I thought you said there wasn't a Descent too.
There's not.
I think a Feast, though, again, I feel like I bring that up occasionally. I haven't revisited them since they came out, but it's like that first one was really interesting, and then they did like 2 or 3 more like back to back, and it's like, all right, I'm sure they're still okay, but like it was great as an idea, and you just blew it up for the sake of blowing it up.
2 is weird, sloppy seconds, and then the Happy Finish is what it's called. They really jumped the fucking shark on that one.
I like the names, but I guess you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, it's supposed to be goofy and gory or whatever, but that first one's a lot of fun.
Sure.
Still, I think if memory serves correctly, I remember enjoying it quite a bit.
It's been a while, but I guess I'm agreeing with you, just using another movie as comparison.
Yeah. If you guys don't have anything else you want to talk about before we jump into this, we can get right into it.
Let's do it.
We never established why I'm actually wearing this or anything. Like we talk about my military background in other videos.
Oh,
but
yeah.
if someone's first viewing this,
They're like, what the fuck?
who is this guy?
20 minutes in, why has this guy been wearing a fucking bulletproof vest? Is there like a shot? Is there a shooter off camera? Is this like a 24 situation?
Well, tell us a little
Phone
bit.
booth, I mean?
Tell us a little about your background and what you do, Smith.
Hi everyone, I'm CB Smith. That's my YouTube channel, and when my other job is a sergeant in the New Jersey National Guard, full time there. I can't really talk about everything that I do there. But just know that this rank is not like a stolen valid situation. I am, in fact, a non-commissioned officer on my way to getting promoted again. And I'm here. I've been here, Movie Dumpster, talking about military stuff, first with Child's Play 3. And also for my YouTube channel where I talk about books and adaptations unrelated to my military experience. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here for the military shit.
And also because it's one of your favorite movies.
It's one of my favorite movies, and we will go into that.
And you love werewolves.
And I do love werewolves.
We all do.
I think we all do. And if you haven't checked it out yet, or you're new to the channel, go check out the Bad Moon review that we did. What else do we got? We got The Company of Wolves. You can check out
stuff?
too. Yeah, werewolf stuff.
Project Metal Beast.
Project Metal Beast. But specifically,
your favorite American Werewolf in Paris?
Paris?
Oh, God, what a piece of shit.
Well, I won't even advocate.
I'd rather chew the fucking condom than do that. The one from the movie.
Chewing gum. Yeah, but we did do a Bad Moon with CB, so that was a good one too.
That was a blast. You guys should really check that out.
Yeah.
We're expanding the Movie Dumpster universe werewolf lore with one of our favorite werewolf experts.
There we go. So yeah, as our guest, as always, can you do us a favor and give us the plot crunch for this? Very brief plot crunch.
It's a werewolf movie with soldiers in it.
Yep.
That's it.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Tim Nugent approach. Quick and to the point. Succinct.
I like it.
Yeah. It's a siege movie. They hold up in a farmhouse and they defend themselves, and shenanigans ensue.
I mean, you're not wrong
Pretty
at all.
much, yeah.
No.
So we open up the movie in Scotland. We're back in fucking Scotland, and I love it. It's great.
Fat bastard is here,
Oh
folks.
man, dude,
He's taking a shit in the other room.
I hope one day I can like move to Scotland or like get a house there. I think the UK is beautiful, and I just want to live in the countryside there with the fairies and the leprechauns and whatever the fuck, and Nessie, of
with
course.
Phil Fondacaros out there.
Yeah.
But Joe, it's shot in Luxembourg.
Why you gotta puncture my dreams like that?
But the thing said Scotland.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Do you know how many dreams I crush at my job in the army?
Oh no,
A lot.
So we're out there, and this couple is camping, and my goodness, it just kicks off with like a creepy ass scene because this couple's camping, and I guess he gets promoted or something for his job.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend is with him, and she gives him this solid silver letter opener.
Absolutely won't be relevant
Because
later.
this knight needs his sword, if you know what I'm saying.
It's Chekhov's letter opener.
Yeah.
It literally is.
It's a fucking MacGuffin, dude.
Maybe he's military, maybe he's not. I guess they don't ever expand on that,
No.
He
right?
never did. The fact that he's bald kind of is like, is he on vacation? I don't know.
I mean, they're definitely on vacation because he's about to slip it.
Start zipping down those pants, but unfortunately starts hearing a different zip go down.
Oh, dude, how creepy is this fucking scene where, like, they're getting into it, and all of a sudden they hear the zipper of the tent, and slowly this zipper of this tent is just moving up like something's unzipping it.
While you're hearing like,
And you're like, what the fuck?
like a bear or something. You don't know what.
But it's so great because you expect a werewolf to like rip through the tent, right? Like a la Bad Moon, where it rips through the tent and pulls her out, right? That's scary. This is even creepier because it's like methodic, you know. And then it grabs, the werewolf grabs it by the girl by the legs and pulls her out and jerking her around, and there's a big spray of blood and. Boom, we get the title as Dog Soldiers.
The
guy does reach for that letter opener, but we never find out if it's successful.
if
I don't think so.
I don't think it is either, but we do get that crash to black, so we don't see it.
If I had $1 for every time I've been on this channel talking about a werewolf movie that begins with an attack on a couple doing some hanky panky, I'd have $2.
You would.
Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
But then we flash forward to actually flash backwards
2 hours earlier.
To this totally, at least you think at first, unrelated scene of this dude just in army fatigues, running through the fucking woods.
Kevin McKidd.
Yep. Who is in a bunch of things, but specifically Tommy from Train Spotting.
He's also been in the MDU before.
I have that written down, just laying on us, Joe.
He's killer number 2 in Bunraku.
Yes, he is.
Whoever the fuck that is, here's the clip.
Ron Perlman's number 2 guy.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
okay.
it's like his right-hand guy.
Got it. Yeah, he's also in that movie that I keep talking about that I want to do for St. Patrick's Day, The Magical Legend of the Leprechauns with Randy Quaid. He's in that.
Okay.
Yeah. Also Grey's Anatomy, because my wife watches that a lot, and I seen him in it, and that's the connection, right? Because he plays a doctor who has PTSD from a war that he was in, and I'm convinced that that's just what he did after this movie.
That actually lines up.
He fought werewolves. He was in the army or the whatever he's in, and then is it the army? Yeah, he's in the army.
He's in the army.
And then now he's working at Gray Memorial.
He relocated to the U.S. He couldn't handle
That's
Scotland
the sequel
or Ireland.
that you wanted.
Yeah, I guess so. Maybe.
The Grey Secret Grey for Werewolf. Also, he did the voice for Soap McTavish in Modern Warfare 2 and 3.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Kind of cool.
I don't play Call of Duty.
I mean, those are the ones from like 20 years ago at this point. They've already like remade like 2 and 3, I think, at this point.
And they didn't bring him back.
I don't think they did. I mean, he's not credited.
For shame.
Those are the things I knew him from.
So yeah, he's running through the woods from the special ops team because he's training to become part of the special ops. And the guy heading it is Ryan, played by Liam Cunningham, who is, we just talked about him not too long ago. He's the captain in the Voyage of Demeter.
Oh, I forgot he's in that. Oh my God, you're right. I just instantly like Sir Davos, the Onion Knight from Game of Thrones. I completely forget he's in that. Oh my God.
He's also
that movie went right out my fucking brain.
He's also Solon from the Clash of the Titans remake. So he's also in the MDU as well.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
He's a great actor.
Oh, he's excellent. Dude.
I was reading online that Ireland considers him one of their greatest actors of all time.
I think so.
He's up there. He's an Irish boy. I like it.
I like him better than Sean Connery. You think?
Well, there's a lot to dislike about Sean Connery if we want to go down that rabbit hole.
Is he Irish or is he British?
He's Scottish.
Fuck him.
Say that when you go live in Scotland.
Yeah,
when you're over there. Where's Sean Connery's grave? I want to piss on it.
Yeah, well, the Scottish mob's going to take me out when I'm there now, yeah.
I'm going to kill your whole family.
So they never specify what the special operations is.
Werewolf hunting.
Werewolf hunting.
The cryptid division.
I haven't.
It's a training thing. Is what they say. Oh, you evaded us for 22 hours.
You're gonna be part of the team now, but you got to kill this dog for no reason.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're saying they don't tell him what the exercise is.
Yeah, they don't tell us in the movie what it is. There's a couple like off moments there that like. This movie came out 20 years ago. It's a different army, so things may differ. But like one of the weird things to me always was like the fact that they use like regular flashlight lenses instead of the red lens. So like their night vision is really kind of off. And also like when we do training exercises, we usually try not to hit each other on purpose, but there are a couple schools where that is permitted. One of them is called SEER, Survivalist Environmental Readiness, and some of the people I've talked to who were there, it's like really, really brutal.
Like beat you up, you mean?
The way they described it is like they can touch you, which is like
they're gonna punch you in the face.
They might punch you in the face.
Probably punch you.
The one school that I wasn't really trying to get into was air assault. There was only 2 spots left, but there was 40 people applying for it. I just wanted to see if I could actually do the training, and I did pass the test. But I was too busy playing D&D with you the night before.
I think I remember that, actually.
Just drinking beer, eating pizza to like, what, midnight, 2 in the morning?
It's worth it.
I had to get up at 3 in the morning, so I was like, fuck it.
Oh my God, you had a D&D hangover?
Yeah.
You got a D from the D&D hangover.
Look, you drink a lot of caffeine, you take a pre-workout.
I think you had a mead that night, too, now that you mention it. One of those big boys.
All I know is I drank a lot that night. But I still passed the day 0. But like I said, people pass a lot better than me, and I hope they went off and did good things.
Did you shoot the dog?
They made you shoot the dog, right?
So I've managed to actually meet up with someone who does work in K9, and the idea that like even special operations, the idea that like you kill a dog just randomly as a kind of a fuck you to a soldier who refuses to kill a dog, which is Private Cooper in the movie. Dogs are considered equipment, and like really, really expensive equipment.
Right, from all the training they need to take.
And so you lose a dog, according to the canine worker that I met, he's basically saying like, no, those things are treated almost as well as a regular soldier, which kind of, depending on your perspective.
Right. No.
My point is like, the idea like he's shooting a dog is like that one's more of a movie moment than an actual like military moment.
Yeah. Right, because he's just trying. It's like a shock value thing. Like, you're going to listen to me, Cooper. If you can't kill this dog, I don't need you on my squad.
Yeah, he needs to take orders unconditionally.
Right. And his whole thing is like, well, I'm not against killing a dog, but like this dog didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And right, like you said, Ryan just fucking shoots it and is like, yeah, you failed. Sorry, go back home.
Dude, he fucking punches him right in the face.
Oh yeah, well Cooper, right? He goes after Ryan.
Yeah.
I kind of love it that they're fighting, literally getting into a fist fight, and Ryan's like, no, I'm like way more skilled than you. You're a fucking private, and like instantly disarms. I'm like, yeah, no, just go home.
Yeah. Well, he sends it back with the shit kickers, dude, because now he's like back in the army with like some team.
Right, 4 weeks later.
4 weeks later, yeah, because we get airdropped in for this.
CCR's blasting. Might as well be, man.
Long Tall Sally's playing, dude. Yeah.
But they have you ever seen these in your time in the National Guard, CB? These not tranquilizers, but these blank machine guns.
Well, they're doing an exercise.
Yeah. Because I guess they did have that in Child's Play 3, technically.
Yeah. Well,
So I actually want to dedicate quite a bit of time for this scene because it's actually one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah, it's great.
No, I never been in a helicopter. A couple other guys got to have that luxury. I had to drive the Humvee. Boo.
Oh, that sucks.
No helicopter. I get it.
But like this is actually one of my favorite scenes because like it's one of those nice marriages between like the fact that like this is a movie, you need to set up a scene and it have to be cool shots. You know, time is like what are the soldiers doing? Is it actually kind of accurate? And honestly, it's like a back and forth. They establish a security perimeter. It's way too small, and the way the camera is, everyone's facing the camera in some way. So there's a lot of blind spots in this security perimeter. 3 or 4 good shooters separated could take these guys out. But the fact is, like, this is a movie. People taking off their helmets because we're getting a good establishment shots of who they are.
Which you would never do, I would imagine.
Which is not something you would do.
I think there's even that scene in Saving Private Ryan where the guy gets shot in the head, takes it off and looks at it, and then gets brained.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
And
I fucking glue it on after that. Fuck
well,
that.
he was dead. He didn't have a chance.
No, I mean, if I was the other guy that saw that happen.
And so like the rest of the scene, you have these characters being established. You have Spoon, Joe, Terry, Bruce, Coop, and Sergeant Wells, and everyone has their own little moment to shine in this scene, in this like good like 2, 3, 5 minute scene. And this is the part where like I fell in love with this movie after I enlisted. I already loved it beforehand. Because like I've worked with these guys 20 years ago, different army, but like everyone there, the one who's there who just wants to do football, like he just wants to watch the game and does not care for his exercise. I met those guys.
He needs a 6, dude, in the TV.
The really, really eager but inexperienced young guy Spoon forgets his watch. I've had that guy too. I've been that guy a couple times. And then you got Bruce, who is like he's been there for the longest other than the Sarge. And he's very like, yeah, we're here to do it. We're just here to do it, whatever. Like he doesn't get that much of a character, but he's still there. You feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
Cooper, he's the main character, so he gets the most fleshed out. And the fact that like he's being trusted to do establishing where we are in position of the map and suggest the next course of action with the sergeant shows that like, okay, he's the protege. He's the one that's going to come up and lead. Like obviously he leads throughout the movie afterwards, but like he's the one that's chosen by sergeant. It's like, this is my project, because that's what you do as a sergeant.
Is that your corporal?
Corporal is you're basically sergeant in training.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of like
Bruce is technically the corporal, but because he's not the main character, he's not doing it. In another maybe a better script or like something else, like it would be Corporal Cooper doing all this. And then there's Sergeant Wells, who like, I know Arlie Ermy is like the go-to like drill sergeant everyone loves because he says a bunch of mean things, and
which is funny.
He's a stereotype.
He's great. We like him. He was a drill instructor, and he definitely like that's his energy, and you know we all love him. But like to me, Sergeant Wells is always like that's someone like if for a fictional character, that's who like I try to inspire because he's always like calm, cool, collected. But if you piss him off, you piss him off, and he cares about his guys a lot.
I think he's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's
of
played
the movie.
He's played by Sean Pertwee. By the way, he's also in the MDU
he
already.
Sure is.
He's fucking Father from Equilibrium.
Yep.
Which, you know, spoilers, is actually just an AI program. He's actually fake in that film. But that was kind of crazy when I Googled him and like you go to IMDb and it's like the second image. I was like, is that Equilibrium?
Yeah, sure is. He should have gun-cotted those fucking werewolves.
Oh, God. You know what else he was in?
What?
I mean, he's also in a ton of shit. I feel like we always say that, but he was fucking Alfred in Gotham.
Yeah.
I'll mention Connor again. One of your favorites, Connor.
That's right.
Connor, message us. Let us know how you felt about his Alfred or anybody else.
He was also in another great werewolf movie called Howl. Have you guys seen that?
No,
I've heard of it.
Now I got to.
It's like the werewolves on the train. Werewolves on a train.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like Sean,
I remember liking it a lot.
Sean Pertwee is like obviously this movie is the reason I like fell in love with him as a character actor. But like if he's in something, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah.
He was in Mutant Chronicles where he basically is just Sergeant Wells again.
He's great.
It's a good character.
But then like my ex was watching the Tudor show, and I walk in randomly, and he was on screen, and I was like, oh, shit, what is this? And I sit down, I'm about to watch it, and then he gets murked right then and there. And I was like, well, I gave it a shot, and I leave 20 seconds later.
Yeah, I would say, like, there's, like, 3 characters. I mean, there's a bunch, obviously, that you just listed, but, like, the 3 that kind of stood out to me were Wells, Cooper, and then, like, Spoonie, because he's just so fucking weird, and, like, he has a lot of big moments throughout.
Yeah. Well, he's a nut, that fucking guy.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's great.
That's the thing I liked about this movie is that, like, obviously being National Guard, I'm not Special Forces, I'm not, you know, even big Army for that matter, but everyone here, they're GI average Joes. And you never get a lot of movies with those anymore. And watching this after I enlisted, I was like, I've worked with these guys. I've been some of these guys. This feels authentic, and it helps that according to the book, the background information here is that, like, because it's in Luxembourg, the crew are Belgium, and they're drafted, so everyone there has some experience. And then some of the actors, the guy who played Spoonie, has a background both in military and boxing, and we'll you know,
that makes sense.
We'll
then.
find out why later.
One of the best hand-to-hand fucking combat scenes, I think.
Well, in a werewolf movie, for sure.
Well, yeah. Maybe the only one.
Yeah, right.
And as for the tops of those weapons you asked before.
Oh, like the yellow. I guess they're shooting blanks because it's a training exercise.
Yes, we use those all the time. Like, that's how we shoot blanks. Like, the movie blanks that don't require those, they're filled with a lot more gunpowder primer in order to actually create the explosion.
Oh, okay.
As for that object, I forgot the name of it. It escaped my mind, unfortunately. We'll find out and put
It's
it
like
in
it looks
the
like a
thing.
plug, like a yellow plug
so
at the end of the
that's
rifle.
exactly what it is.
Like it's not a suppressor, though.
It's not a suppressor, no. Automatic weapons, how they shoot and eject into the next round into the chamber is basically the gas is shooting out, and then it pushes back the charging handle and remembering all the parts. But basically it shoots back, and then it puts another bullet into the chamber.
Yeah, the shell ejects.
Yeah. So with a blank, you're using a lot less primer. So that object, it basically seals the barrel so that there's enough gas to help propel the shell again.
Huh, okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I mean, they are also, it helps on the budget because they don't, I wish they kind of put some muzzle flashes in, but maybe it just wouldn't make any damn sense.
Well, they still have muzzle flashes.
I guess they do.
Yeah.
I feel like it's less so throughout. I feel like it's not every single shot, unless I just missed it.
Basically,
sometimes they're just firing this thing, and I feel like they just were like, well, just add some sound effects.
So we learned that this is a military exercise, and that's a good indicator that what they're doing is every time we go out in the field, we always have weapons like that with the plug in it.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they're walking through the woods on this exercise, and they're getting to know each other, and we're getting to know them. But then Cooper is talking about this story that he heard, like walking through this part of the woods, and he's like, oh yeah, did you hear about those 2 campers that died? And like,
remember the cold open?
Yeah, and like people disappear all the time, and you know they said it was an escaped lunatic, but they don't know. They couldn't find any bodies. There was only blood all over the place.
Exactly.
Everything was ripped to shreds.
Where are the bodies?
And
Where'd
like,
they go?
Woo! You know, they're fucking with each other.
Yeah.
Like they possibly just disappeared. Bigfoot's got them or something.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's what I really like is that like, it's it's not so much an exposition, but like it's a establishing scene that Cooper knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
He's in the area.
He's been there before.
The amount of just like random ass conversations I've had with the guys in the field is like, everything feels very authentic in terms of how the characters portray themselves, to the point that even in Janine's book, there's a whole little tiny chapter of like military veterans and cops being like, yeah, this is what like the cadence of speeches and even some of the topics that we talk about is like, it's so very close to what we experience.
Well, there's even like, Joe keeps going on about he's going to miss his football game. And like, Cooper's trying to get everyone up and about, like get on the move because he's finished the plan with Wells, like what they're going to do. And he's like, oh man, I can't believe I'm missing this fucking game. And like Cooper kicks him his helmet and he's like, oh, asshole. But it's like, it all kind of jives. Like you're saying, like what they're talking about and their attitudes towards each other. Like you said, it feels fucking real.
Yeah, they're digging at each other. They're making jokes, all that kind of shit.
Like when Sergeant Wells is like, listen, just because we're doing an exercise doesn't mean we'd be thinking nice thoughts. I expect nothing but gratuitous violence from a lot of you.
Well, and then that's also where they synchronize watches, and Spoonie's like, I forgot mine. And Wells is like, all right, well, you can borrow mine. Just make sure I get it back, which is another interesting through line. Like they drop these little.
There's a lot of through lines. Yeah,
There's a lot of. They're not even red herrings because they actually get paid off on, but there's quite a few throughout.
Setups and payoffs.
Yeah. They start marching, and this scene's kind of great where they're whistling.
Yeah, they're whistling a song that I always assumed was
Is it an Elvis tune?
An Elvis tune? No. I sent it over to the group chat with you guys. It is.
Oh, that was that.
That was that. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, you could tell from the whistling. Tom Hark by the Piranhas.
Okay.
Which it's such a British fucking song. And it's a football related thing. Like they played it in the games a lot.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Over our dumbass, ignorant American heads.
Yeah. Also, for any dumbass Americans watching this, football is soccer in the UK.
Football.
Football.
Speaking of
there's a U in there.
Yeah.
Speaking of dumbass American soldiers.
No, that's
there's a different term.
South America and Mexico is football.
Yeah.
I was watching the movie on Blu-ray for the first time. It's finally clear, and you can see the rank of Sergeant Wells and Corporal Bruce, and it's upside down. I was about to call that shenanigans on that, only to realize, like, no, that's the actual rank in England.
Oh, yeah.
Well, of course, England's always wrong. We're always right. Go America.
Your imperial measurements.
I was about to say metric. I still wish we had the fucking metric system, but
You mean like what the rest of the fucking world
let me
uses?
die in a hill that billions of other people are never gonna care about. But yeah, so they're
Royale with cheese, baby.
Exactly. So after they're whistling, they're just kind of walking along, but we get this like POV shot of someone looking through binoculars, and it's Ryan. Now, like, all right, call the camp. The sheep are going to the kill zone, or he says it in a specific way.
Sheep to the slaughter or something.
Yeah.
Lambs to the slaughter.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So we get this night scene, and they're all around the fire, and I love this story that the Sarge tells about his buddy.
God.
About his buddy, yeah.
There's a gremlin ship, but actually, like, makes more sense in this context.
Well, it's
War stories.
It's a war story,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like how Sarge views the world, like because of this one incident, and how he kind of lives his life, and how he takes different things seriously, and how to live, kind of. Because he's telling the story about his buddy, who he was out with one night before they went on this, I guess, a tour.
They were
a tour.
They were in Kuwait during Desert Storm. He describes.
Yeah.
And there's a buddy of his, Eddie, who says that his soul still belongs to God, but his flesh is way beyond redemption because he's done a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
So he gets a big tattoo of a laughing devil on his ass cheek.
Drunk as fuck.
Yeah,
they get these tattoos together.
He says, like, the devil will protect my skin, or Satan will protect my skin.
Satan will save my skin.
It's only up, like, the devil's the only one who can now, because at this point.
Yeah.
So Eddie lands on an anti-tank mine and just gets
gets vaporized, and he's like there was just a big circle of blood, and every fucking bit of this guy is a little bit of ear here and ear and a jaw there, and his nose in his fucking pocket he found it. And every single bit is burned except for this
pulped up.
Yeah, pulped up, except for this one pristine ass cheek with the fucking devil tattoo on it. So he saved his skin.
I like
that one particular part.
That scene is great, and there's another thorough line because he says, because they're talking about their biggest fears,
right?
And
some of them don't want to be castrated. Cooper's afraid of spiders
and women,
yeah,
and spider women.
Right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't watch Spookies then.
But then Sarge says, not seeing his wife again is his biggest fear.
Yeah.
Which is another through line at the end.
Which he keeps pulling the picture out and looking at it.
Yep.
Boom, boom.
But this scene, I'm very jealous because it's nighttime and they all get to sit around. No one's pulling security. They have
I was thinking that.
They don't go on watch until the fucking the shit hits.
They have a fire going because you don't get to do that. Like,
you need Samwise Gamgee to run over there.
So night vision goggles are very good.
Yeah.
And any kind of light just lights up the whole fucking place. And not only that, a fire light's going to fuck up your night vision. So I'm very jealous that they get to be nice and warm by the fire when in reality you're going to be cold and miserable. I remember one time I was pulling security at an exercise we were doing, and I'm sitting there with the machine gun in a dugout, and I'm fighting sleep because, like, I know we're gonna get attacked, but I don't know if it's gonna be through us, another area, and I'm just like nodding. I'm just like, can they just go, please? Like,
jeez, can this war hurry up already?
Wow. Or go home and watch the footy.
All right, that's
part of your
telly. Part of your training on some level is that you're sleep deprived and you're still working
alert.
at that level. Yeah.
So I'm very jealous that they got to have a fire.
Well,
Are you jealous of the mutilated cow that gets fucking thrown into their camp?
Yes, because that's something very interesting.
Well, because like somebody, I forget who it is, if it's Spoon or Joe, tries to like break the awkward silence after Wells finishes his story, and he's like, "Yeah, the football or something," and then this thing hits the ground, blood everywhere, and Terry's like, "Oh my god!"
He sprays him and he like shoots all the blanks at it. And
Oh
stuff.
yeah, like they're just blanks, Terry. Calm down.
Terry.
But I mean, they're seriously underselling this because like Wells is like, "Well, I don't want to break radio silence for this shit."
Dude, there's teeth marks in this fucking carcass, and it was dropped out of somewhere.
No exit wounds. They make a point of saying, yeah.
There was a
teeth and claw marks.
I think it was established that like it ran. Like they talk about it a little bit. I was watching again with subtitles, and they talked about like this must have been where it ran through. So yeah, it looks like it was thrown, but I think it was supposed to establish that it ran. But you know, the budget is the budget.
Yeah,
sure.
But yeah, when Sarge was like, "I'm not breaking radio silence for a dead, fine, fucking cow."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like you're gonna break radio silence for that, Sarge.
Yeah.
But I got you. I got you.
We get some POV shots of the werewolves. Spoilers.
Yeah.
And it's like this black and white kind of look. It's pretty cool because like it's obviously daytime.
Yeah.
Even in the night shots, but I like that because it's a good way to illustrate the seeing in the dark thing.
I agree, but I do have to agree with Smith a little bit that some of this movie is a little too brightened up. Where there's not what you're talking about. There's some scenes later where they're dealing with like Ryan and they're outside. And I'm like, is it dark out? Is it light out? What's happening? And someone has to literally be like, it's getting dark in 30 minutes because it's not very clear. But the POV of the monsters running around, that is cool, and that's where I think of that. Sam Raimi kind of Evil Dead vision.
Yeah.
Where it's flying kind of through these forests.
Absolutely.
Running, I guess, is what it's showing.
But Ryan's there, and he's like spying on the guys, and he's like, he totally feels like a presence around him, and this fucking werewolf comes running out of the woods and just like guts him. I mean, you see a spray of blood off screen, but you're like, oh shit, he's dead.
But they're none the wiser. They have no fucking clue.
No. They wait all fucking night. They go to sleep, and then the cow is gone the next morning, and they're like, huh, where'd it go? And they follow the blood trail through the woods.
Yeah, and they follow it through, and then a flare goes through, and they follow the flare to the camp.
Yeah, and now this is the special ops camp.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking slaughter show, dude. There is blood and guts, sausages, if you will, all over the place. And there's like weird equipment there. There's like satellite dishes and trank guns and all kinds of weird shit. And they're like, what do they need these nets and shit for?
Ripped up Jeeps and stuff.
Yeah, everything's fucking trashed.
They hear from like under a pile of rubble, like, ah!
Ryan comes up with the gun and he's like, oh, is it them? And they're like, well, is it who?
Oh, wow. And then he's being super vague to the point of like, all right, buddy, can you just tell them it's fucking werewolves?
He's like, there's only supposed to be one. There's only supposed to be one.
They tore me to pieces in front of my eyes.
Yeah, he's going full fucking Loomis behind the bushes, man.
That reminded me of Silver Bullet when he's showing them the picture at the bar and he's like, this is my son. He was torn to pieces.
Yeah. But clearly, like, this guy's been like royally fucked up. His front of his chest is all bleeding, so they're like putting bandages on him, like trying to stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
Obviously, like, no one there is a medic. But they do establish like what they can. Like the gauzes, they're pretty big for what we get. We usually get these like individually, we usually get these tiny ones, and like you could buy a version of these as a civilian. And you got your gauzes, you got I'll just break up the whole thing. You got tourniquets. You get this great coagulant base, like a medical tape that you can just like shove into a wound that like coagulates the blood real quick. Yeah, no super glue, unfortunately.
Like well, you should have the super glue in there.
You should have.
I'm surprised.
Get some Gorilla Glue.
I thought that was like standard issue since Vietnam.
No.
Wow, you watched the movie too many times.
Yeah.
Joe.
So no one there is like a trained medic, but like the whole point of like the training that like we get as like regular soldiers is that like your job is to stop the bleeding, and so that you can actually bring them to someone who can actually like make them better.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, just, temporary
Stem it.
patch.
Yeah.
But now they actually do kind of start patrolling because it's like, all right, this is weird. I think they even hear some howling off in the distance.
Not yet, because they're walking and they see like a trampled bunch of brush and they're like, oh, I guess whatever it was went this way. Sarge finds fucking hair. Could be Bigfoot, could be a werewolf, we don't know.
Licks it, of
Harry?
course.
Yeah, it smells like a Bigfoot, the dingleberry. Yeah, LaFleur's got some of that, yeah.
He's all over the map. He's all over the fucking country.
Well, now, dude, he's hunting lycanthropes out there. He's about to get that metal beast blood.
Oh God, he better fucking watch out. He's about to get his throat ripped out.
So then I like this scene with Sergeant where Sergeant Wells, he's basically just saying like, all right, man, so drop your blanks. We have live ammunition that they find at the camp.
Yeah.
We're dealing with hostile enemies. And the great line where he's like, if you see Little Red Riding Hood with a bazooka and bad attitude, I want you to chin the bitch.
Yeah, chin the bitch, man. I thought that was great.
That's just little Red Hood from Darkstalkers, obviously.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Like,
BB Hood.
Like, the script for Sergeant Wells is very much like, if this was real life, I would be like, all right, that NCO, like, practice these lines. But, like, they're cool lines.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, they grabbed the live ammo there, but then they're kind of out in the woods, like Joe is saying. And then, like, again, I don't know if they're just sent off in these directions or what. I forget how it's set up. But, like, Bruce is off in the fucking woods with his machine gun looking for something.
Well, what happens is the sun's going down. And they're like, hey, guys, it's going to be night in 30 minutes. So they gather up, like Smith said, they gather up all their shit, and they're trying to find cover.
Mm.
And as they're going, they hear this scream. And they're like, what the fuck is that? And the scream turns into a howl. And I thought that was such a cool way to do that. Like,
I didn't pick up on that.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, so it's like
transformation.
You know, and you're like, oh, that fucking it was just about time where you got to turn into a fucking werewolf.
That's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. So now we're in twilight right now, so that's why it's like brighter than you guys think.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know, it kind of threw me off a little bit, and I felt like they had to throw that line out there, but I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, they start to make a run for it, and like one of the dudes' gun is jammed.
So Sergeant Wells makes the command that like, all right, we need someone on back to basically guard them while they make their retreat.
Right.
And Bruce decided to do that. He is the second in command. It would have been smart to have another person, but you need them to separate and go through the whole horror aspect, like they're losing themselves in the moment. So I accept that as like a movie moment more than a soldier moment. But you would normally have two and separate a lot more. But yeah, he's shooting. I think it's an MP5, and I've never had to deal with those before, but the fact that like his gun keeps jamming, like his weapon jams, is like that's such a common occurrence, and like I love the fact that like they use that, and he takes it apart and does it, and clears the jam, but then it jams again. Like that unfortunately that happens sometimes. So I love that aspect as opposed to just like shooting off a whole clip for a minute and a half.
Yeah, no, that's true. Especially like it's just all from the POV of the werewolf, so you're just seeing this guy struggle with this weapon and then just saying fuck it, and tries to bolt out of there.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude. Which this part kind of pissed me off, but when you word it that way, where it's like, well, they're thrown off their element, they don't know how to really react. He's just running for his life. It's like, all right, he's a little stupid, but sure, he runs into a fucking tree and impales himself.
Oh, it's great.
And he's supposedly the experienced guy.
Well, so you can train, but then there's always going to be some type of situation. I remember in one exercise, I was playing the enemy, and we established ourselves really, really well in this one moment, and so we had guys coming in.
What's that saying? Everyone's got a plan until they get hit.
Yeah.
Well, no, yeah.
So they were coming towards us. We fired back, and they were treating in a way that basically we just mowed down everyone. Obviously, it was simulated. We were using blanks, but like it came to the point where like they were like, all right, no, you have to lose. Like that's not part of the exercise. I was like, come on, guys.
Almost like it's like Little League or some shit. Like, you can't let us lose that badly.
Well, the thing is like there's a certain scenario that they have established, and we already showed that like we know what we're doing, and some of the other guys knew what they were doing. It's just a lot of people.
It breaks the scenario almost.
The point of training is that you're going to mess up, and that's fine. That's fine. Like I'm not going to be like, oh, these guys are idiots. I have some stories about that, but the fact that like Bruce is like they're dealing with a werewolf, so it's like I don't know what the fuck you are.
Yeah,
your guns.
There's clearly something wrong.
Your gun's jamming. You're running through the Scottish/Luxembourg forest. Like,
no, I mean everything you're saying. You're right. You're getting confused. You don't know the environment. There's a random sharp tree out there somewhere.
And we learn like later on that like the reason why they're out there is because they're expendable. These are like the ragtag groups. They're the GI Average Joes. Yeah. So
GI Average Joe.
Yeah. So for all your average GIs out there, open your eyes, look in front of you. Don't just run through some fucking 3-foot high brush towards a tree. Use your peepers.
Yeah, if there's a werewolf after
Oh,
you,
you
make
have
sure you gotta make sure
Do
you got
all that while you're getting chased.
a silver
by
bullet clip on you somewhere, or a magazine
well,
rather.
a grizzly's right up your ass. Yeah, good point.
You need to bring some werewolf mace or some shit in the woods there.
Yeah. So then poor Bruce runs into a branch.
Not only does he run into the branch, but like right after that, after he's impaled, the fucking werewolf like breaks him and the branch right off.
Dude, that's a mercy at that
Oh
point.
man, it's great.
But then like Wells is like in the forest now looking for Bruce and like what the hell's happening?
Yeah.
And he fucking finds like basically trips over him.
Well,
Yeah.
and he picks him up and he wants to save him, and he finally shoots the fucking werewolf that's in the woods, and you're like, oh shit. So what's gonna happen? Because Ryan's like, you can't kill them, you can't, they won't die or whatever.
They're immortal.
They're immortal.
And then I thought this was the end of Wells, and like this is a through line for a character I wasn't expecting to like as much as I did, because at first
great.
at face value I'm like, no fucking way. And then like as the movie kind of explains why he couldn't survive what I'm about to say, I'm like, oh yeah, no, actually it lines up.
that makes
'Cause he
sense.
So-
gets slashed across the stomach and his fucking intestines fall out.
I do have.
sausages.
There was a drill sergeant of mine years ago who told a story about a
Werewolf?
soldier.
Oh, sorry.
A soldier's
my God.
stomach was torn open due to an IED, and basically that coagulant tape I was telling you about, like they literally just stuffed that shit in there to stop the bleeding and stuff the organs back in the stomach. And he did end up surviving, but that's like special scenario where they were like shipped out quickly in time.
Yeah.
But this one's like,
This is also a special scenario, but not that kind of special
Dude,
scenario.
Coop is like, get back in there.
Sergeant's like, is that gonna fucking
He's
fit?
like, of course it'll fit. And he's
Oh,
just
man.
stuffing it. And he's like, oh.
Incredible acting. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, not that I've ever been in that situation. Thank God, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's like you do see in a lot of those war movies and documentaries shit like this happening, where it's like you're this toughest nails kind of person, and second that your fucking guts are falling out, everything just breaks because he like totally changes his attitude and the way he's speaking, and it feels very realistic.
Yeah, we're also incredibly fragile creatures.
No,
like,
that's what I'm
you know
saying. I
mean?
like it a lot that they play into that, because
Yeah.
they could very easily just make these guys, you get slashed, you're dead, or you're just unkillable, and they find a good middle ground.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they're blasting their way through the fucking forest. There's werewolves coming at them. They're getting shot, and it's very Aliens. This is the first type of that feeling you get, right?
Yeah. I like how when they're retreating through the forest, you have some staying and shooting while the rest of the team backs out, and then they switch over, and then the other team backs. They're leapfrogging back.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
that's
mistakes because small, whatever. You need the good shots, you need the money shots, but like this is like. I've done something like this before, and so I'm feeling it. Like this is like, yeah, this is close. This is like close enough that I'm really, really engaged with it.
That's really interesting too. And it actually, you connecting on it on that level is great, but I think it's also a better experience for even like an average viewer like myself. Like I didn't know that was a actual real formation, but it felt real and felt good.
I mean, it's wrong. The formation itself was wrong, but like the strategy
intent-
strategy they're doing is right enough that like I'm feeling it.
So they get down to the road. Fucking, I think Spoon falls down the fucking hill and lands in front of the Jeep, and he's like, "Stop!"
Oh, he almost gets run over this car that pulls up. Yeah.
And Megan gets out, and she's like, "Get in the car!" And everybody piles in, and this is fucking cool too, because the werewolves attack the truck, and she's like stuck trying to get out, like fucking Muldoon on the stick.
Oh, in the mud, yeah.
And there's a werewolf by the side of the glass, and you see its mouth open and the fucking breath on there. A fucking arm shoots in, and it's like grabbing for the dudes.
They're trying to cut it off,
dude. He's like, I think either Joe or Spoon stabs it with a fucking knife right through the forearm.
Yeah,
and it's like it's trying to pull out, and the thing slides all the way down out of the arm. It's great.
Yeah.
And then she peels off finally, and you're like, okay, thanks, but who the fuck are you? And she's like, I heard gunshots, and I'm out here to help you.
I was just going home. Well, the only house around here for miles is this farmhouse. I know the people there. They're my neighbors. They're real nice. Let's go see if they'll let us hang out there.
And like, I don't want to just instantly
bringing a fucking pack of werewolves to this people's house.
Yeah, like you don't know necessarily what this woman's deal is yet, but instantly she's like kind of saying stuff that's like, all right, well, yeah, I guess that adds up. It's still a little stranger out here, but we're not going to question it because we're being chased by a pack of werewolves. We're just like, that's a little fishy. We'll get back to that later.
Should have took their ass to the slaughtered lamb, dude. They had the fucking pentangle on the wall there with the candles.
We're already in Scotland. We're not that far from it,
not
honestly.
Heathcliff didn't howl.
No, we did not.
Meanwhile, in England or London, in England,
yeah,
David Naughton's getting ripped apart on the moors.
So they get to the farmhouse, and this is like it's I say it's wrong. It's like they're not sweeping the room the way like we're trained to sweep the room.
But to a casual viewer, I'm like, they're sweeping the room.
Yeah, but I noticed that too,
Yeah.
especially when you watch films like John Wick or like other stuff like that.
Like John Wick, he like you can watch Keanu Reeves do the training, and it's like so like he's a little bit more into that, but like it's fine enough. I mean, it's a movie with werewolves. I'm not gonna like knock on it that much.
I kind of like how they establish, just from a visual standpoint too, visual storytelling, if you will, just that people are still living here. They just left. The fucking food's still on the table. The
fireplace
water's boiling.
is lit.
Yeah.
I also like the setup here when they're scoping around in the house. Like you get a good establishment of like where the rooms are, where things are. So when shit really hits the fan, you can be like, oh, he's there, she's there, they're there.
Right. And there's a pretty good layout because like I like how it takes time. Since they drove away, it takes time for the werewolves to kind of come and regroup.
Yeah.
And they're like, fuck this. We got to get out of here now. Sarge is going to fucking die. We got to load him up in the truck and let's get out of here. They go out to the truck and the whole front end is just ripped to shreds.
Yeah, I was going to say, as you're saying that, these things are still pretty fucking fast.
Yeah, oh, they're fast as hell. But it took them a little bit to get there.
Sure, yeah.
So we get like the first siege on the house a little bit because they run in the house, they close the door, and before they can close the door, a fucking arm comes around and they're like slamming the door and fucking smashing it with the guns.
They blow up the car too.
They blow up the car.
Megan's like, "That's my car."
Yeah.
I love how the way they do some of these sequences though, because like Coop's got the fucking rifle and he's sticking it through like the mailbox and firing it. That is such a cool visual.
It's really good. Special delivery, dude.
Yes. And then like Spoonie's got like the rifle at the window and they're going to town on these things. They're trying to defend themselves.
And all the while, this werewolf's trying to break in the fucking. There's a dog in the house, Sam.
Oh my god!
And he's like, and they're like got Sarge bandaged up like temporarily, and he's like pulling at his bandages.
Pulling at the bandage. In the old DVD, it looks like his intestines.
Oh, yes.
I read about that. Actually, Neil Marshall said that originally it was the intestines, like sausages, but they changed it to the bandages. But most people, when they saw it, they couldn't like tell at a quick glance.
It's bloody bandages, man.
You can tell on the Blu-ray.
It is bandages, but yeah, that's kind of a whoa. What is he biting at? What is that dog doing right now?
And then Captain Ryan's about to shoot the dog, but then here comes Terry.
Fucking
like, oh, shut that dog up! Pulls out a fucking pistol.
Terry fucking throws up on Ryan's head.
I don't know if that's a reaction to what's happening outside, or he just is that vehemently against the dog being shot. But Ryan's like, Campbell's soup? You have a bathroom? Because that's what it looks like, literal soup out of a can.
Oh, it's gross.
Yeah. If you guys notice that like that wrecked car is there like at all times, and the reason why is because according to Janine in the book, everything was shot in chronological order.
Huh. Wow, that's not normal.
That is not normal at all, but this is like his first big movie.
It's pretty great though.
Also because maybe the house getting destroyed, he couldn't really undo that.
Well,
yeah, exactly. So that does mean that like you have the one opportunity to make that big boom, and big boom you did.
There's several big booms that he did.
Yeah.
So Ryan's in the bathroom, we get an inkling, and you're like, something's going on.
Well, if you're paying attention closely,
yeah.
you notice that his face had a huge scar on it, or a cut rather, and now it's healed.
Well, yeah, if you know anything about werewolves, you know what happens if you get scratched by one.
That's what I like about this movie. Like, they don't follow all the rules, but they follow enough, and they make these damn things so unkillable.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, yeah, they don't have silver, fuck it. They wouldn't kill them.
Yeah, but we didn't
But
really,
they don't tell you what the lore is, I guess is what I meant
We're
by
not
that.
really there yet, but like,
Sure.
but I guess we can talk about it now. But like, yeah, they play it loose enough where there's some wiggle room in between. But I love how it's not like, well, the full moon, but like all the shit you saw in movies like isn't the same.
Oh, right, yeah. It's more like Project Metal Beast minus all the metal inside. It's like, this thing's gonna take a fucking rocket launcher to stop it. It ain't gonna handgun, machine gun ain't doing shit.
Right.
Slows it down.
You have to like blow its fucking head off or something. But Silver does weaken it and kill it for sure.
Right.
So they bring Sarge upstairs, and they're all gathering up extra weapons, like an axe and stuff. And they find a fucking sword in a trunk. I wish there was more
Esteban's,
dude.
From Evilspeak.
Oh, dude, that's where Clint Howard hid it, right? So he wouldn't get in trouble.
I'm leaving this in Scotland. They'll never find it.
They'll never find this in Scotland, man.
There's
I'm
also
totally not going to jail for this.
No, there's also an electric carving knife, which is an item that showed up a lot in movies we've covered.
Just in Harry and the Hendersons.
That's why I thought Irene put it there.
Irene's got one, yeah.
But yeah, so they're collecting all this ammo, I should say, and weapons and shit.
Putting water on the boiler to always have it going.
Yeah, I guess to throw it at them as we find out.
Yeah.
Should do fucking oil, dude. That'll get them good.
Ooh.
They didn't have any.
Yeah.
Little virgin olive oil ain't gonna do it, Joe.
Boiled hot oil?
Maybe it would, actually.
Oh, that'll fucking cook you, man.
I liked how during all this and then like afterwards they're establishing security. Spoon is talking to Joe and he's like, this reminds me of Rorke's Drift with the British soldiers fighting against the Zulu warriors, outmanned, outgunned. And I'm watching this, I'm like, if this movie came out a little bit later and if it was an American remake, don't ever make this, America.
They might not have mentioned the Zulu warriors.
No, they would have mentioned the Battle of Thermopylae with the 300 Spartans. This reminds me of that movie 300.
Oh.
Right, change it. Yeah, I see
300 Spartans fighting against all these Persians.
You know that was a comic book, right?
Yeah.
This is a real event. Did you ever read a history book, guys?
And Joe would be like, you're bloody loving this, aren't you? Fucking weirdo.
So they're got to patch up Sarge, because if they don't do something about this, it's going to be a fucking bad news.
I think they already waited too long, but I guess it works out.
Yeah, it's so great because they give him some painkillers and like a bottle of scotch. And he's getting all fucked up, and they're getting ready to Cooper and Megan are ready to put him back together. So they get some super glue, and they're like putting him back together, like trying to put him back together. And he's like, is it your fucking birthday? I was like, it's my fucking birthday. He's just screaming, and he's fucking delusional. He's totally high off his ass. It's great.
Apparently, he was really drunk when they shot that
Really?
scene, and Neil Marshall was like, I don't know if we did a good job, but it's the drunkest acting I've ever seen, so it worked.
I thought it was great. I love that part a lot. It's real. You know,
I mean, it's no Mr. Leahy, but I guess if he's actually hitting the bottle and pulling off that performance, more power to him.
He's like, hit me, knock me out, you fucking pussy, and he like punches him once, and then like actually knocks him out the second time.
Yeah,
like he hits him once and he pops up again. He's like, oh, you fuck up, pussy, hit me. And then we learn like it was a real punch.
Yeah.
Marshall, according to Janine, in the
Really?
story,
Oh, wow, really?
yeah. Janine points out in the book that like they didn't find out it was a real punch until Sean starts bleeding from the mouth.
Oh.
But then like after, like at first he's like, "Are you okay?" And next one is like, "Did we get the shot?"
Yeah.
And
Also,
it's a good shot.
And it is a good shot.
yeah, it is. Also, this is the scene where Megan kind of is talking to Coop, and he's like, how the fuck did you even get involved with this? She's like, well, I was always interested in werewolves since a young age, so I heard some rumors, so I came out here.
She's a zoologist.
Right. Yeah.
That heard rumors and wanted to, and found evidence that it was true.
Which, okay, like, again, I'm not trying to just show the movie's hand yet, but, like, the pieces are starting to fall apart with your story, lady. Like, when you actually start to think about what she set up to that point, which I think is intentional, you can realize that she's, like, contradicting herself a little.
Lycanthropes. You what? I love that.
Oh, when she starts explaining what she thinks it is. Yeah.
Going back to the super glue bit, they give a little history lesson of like it was developed for Vietnam Pachaboonin soldiers, and that was like, again, according to the book, this was something that like they were originally going to do stitches, but then they were like, someone mentioned super glue in the Vietnam story, and they're like, oh, this is perfect. We'll do that instead.
It makes more sense.
I looked it up. Super glue was developed after World War II. It was used to patch up wounded people, not so much soldiers, without FDA approval. But super glue then like led the way for medical glue to be used. So,
Really?
Oh, okay.
yeah. Less exciting, but still like super glue is good for, you know, sticking to fingers, I guess.
I mean, you do see that occasionally in movies, either realistic or unrealistic movies, where it's like somebody gets injured and they don't have anything on their hand. And it's like they stick something in there, whether it's glue or like a rag or whatever. And it's like, I always wonder if that actually worked. I guess I could Google it, but
Well, it would definitely close it up.
Yep.
I guess that's the idea,
And
right?
hold it for a decent amount of time. And he's like werewolves. He's like, you know, silver bullets and full moons and eyebrows that meet in the middle.
And she's like, well, kinda.
Yeah, well, sort of.
Yeah. There's a great shot in this scene where she's talking about all this, and then Coop is putting rounds into a magazine, and you see his handshake. And I was hoping the book would explain that a little bit about how like this is like a scene where like because Coop says the only thing he fears is women and spiders, and this is like oh no, this turns out there's more that he's afraid of. But Janine just talks about the super glue that's on his fingers, and I was like, no, I wanted more, damn it.
Yeah, because that is that whole speech when he's downstairs and they're kind of all like finding out about the werewolves. Because he's like, yeah, you tell them to Megan. And that's, when she says the line about the lycanthropes. And they're all like, are you fucking kidding me? And they're like, well, what else is it? And they're like, well, I guess, you're right.
Fucking bone.
Yeah.
What does bone mean?
Bollocks.
Not very good. As you can tell, we're the big super fans.
I
here.
know, yeah. And then, like, Ryan, he holds his cards pretty close to his chest until, like, almost the end of the movie. But this is where Cooper's kind of, like, looking at him like, you know what? Like, when we first found you, you could barely walk.
Yeah.
And then, like, you were running around pretty good. And now you're acting like you weren't ever injured. something you want to tell us? Like, you think something's happening here? And like, they're saying it, but they're not saying it because they don't fully understand what's happening. But they are literally talking about werewolves. So like, I guess he's like putting it together in his head as they're talking.
There's even a real quick scene before that I just want to mention because he picks up a picture of the family.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's like looking at it, and there's 5 of them, I think. And she's like, "Oh yeah, this family's lived here for centuries," and blah 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 blah. And then he does the thing with Ryan. I just wanted to mention that picture because it comes up later.
I guess I'll mention it too. The name of the family, Ul, is Gaelic for horror.
Really?
According to Janine in the book, yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Interesting. But yeah, like Ryan won't move it in. She's just like, no, I'm just fine. Don't think about it.
Fucking touch me.
Right, yeah. Like won't admit that like he's turning into a zombie or a werewolf or whatever. It's like he's that
Or a
character.
zombie werewolf.
Sign me up. But you know what I mean? Like that trope in movies.
Yeah.
Megan's like, "What are you gonna do? Torture him?" And Coop's like, "What would you do?" And she goes, "I torture him."
He's like, no, we're just gonna tie him up.
So they hold him down and they rip the thing off his chest, and he's completely healed.
Right.
And then he's like, fuck.
Yeah, cat's literally out of the bag. Then they tie him up.
Yeah. And then they cut the generator, and it's very Aliens, where it's like, how could they cut the power, man? They're werewolves.
Oh,
Because they can see in the dark.
I love that because they see in the dark, and they know we're afraid of it.
Exactly.
It's a great line.
This is, I guess this is
That's one of those quick cuts that you were talking about, but I like it. It feels good.
I do like it for the most part. I just think in the beginning when he's first kind of, I don't know how he edited this, but in the first like 20, I feel like he was going a little too hard. And then once he kind of eased into it, I was finally totally
There are
fine
great like stock sequences and creepy parts for sure.
But when the power goes out, it's like round 2, baby. These things start attacking instantly.
I like how
Again-
Cooper tells them to do short control bursts, which is very much
3 at a time. Yeah.
Aliens.
They don't do it.
No.
Nah.
Coop doesn't do it. Spoon don't do it. Joe don't do it. Like,
Hey, Vasquez and Drake didn't listen either.
no.
This part has so many good like short action sequences.
Yeah.
There's like the one shot of Cooper running down a hallway, sliding into a door to keep it. That is badass.
It's one of the best parts. This all kicks off because they all stop and they look at the front door, and the fucking door handle like slowly.
Oh, opens. Yeah.
No, it slowly like goes down, and like this werewolf's like trying to gingerly like open it quietly. It's just so creepy. Same with the zipper, man. Very creepy.
Yeah. Like they're cognizant.
Yeah,
It's not like
Yeah.
you're
they're fully aware
Right, which is my favorite kind of werewolf. We
Yeah.
don't always get that in these movies, but it's like, no.
instead of just a wild beast.
Yeah, and they don't ever go as deep as they could actually with that concept. It's just, it's there. It's literal window dressing, but that's all you really need it to be.
Yeah.
Is that, oh, these things are smart. They're people.
Breaks through the fucking window. One dude's fucking unloading shotguns into him. Breaks the little window out, puts his face in, and then Coop runs with a pot of boiling water and throws it at him. And
Well, the guy with the shotgun.
Spoon is like hitting it in the face
With the frying
Oh
pan.
man, it's so good.
I think it's Joe has the shotgun, and he
Yeah.
like unloads
Yeah.
almost the whole thing, and then like from the window you see it get grabbed, and then the werewolf fires it on him, and he dolphin dives out of the way.
Dude, when that fucking werewolf takes that shotgun and shoots it at him, it's great.
Yeah.
Joe's like, shit, and dives off.
He might even throw the flashbang at that point.
I love it because like every action is like, you have the quick cuts, but like you can follow it.
And
You
you
can,
see
yes,
it.
yes.
And
Yeah.
it's bright enough where you can see what's happening.
And
too.
the action and stuff is centered enough, like on the center of that screen, that you can actually like be able to pinpoint exactly like where things are, what's happening. Yeah.
Joe gets grabbed through a window, and fucking Coop runs in with the sword and cuts the fucking arm off.
Well, yeah, that part's fucking
So
great.
good.
And then upstairs they hear like a commotion, and like Sarge is like knocked out on the bed after the surgery, in air quotes. But there's like one literally just standing in the room and another one coming through the window. And this I was kind of like, for plot purposes, I'm okay with it because this scene's fucking amazing. But I'm like, it should have just slashed him in the throat.
Well, yeah.
But he's
You
like,
don't fucking do that, Sergeant Wells.
I'm not a werewolf.
This is the first great shot of
It is,
the
no,
werewolf
that's
that
what
you
I'm
get.
saying.
And these are so unique too, because I don't think they've been done like this before. It's definitely dudes in suits, but the head is fully animatronic. And then
They're
you
all
have like,
dancers, apparently.
then you have like
Yeah, it's go on.
Oh, you have like finger extensions, and you also have like these almost stilt type feet that they wear.
Yeah, so there were two main werewolves. I know at some point they have a third one in there, but like one of them just got off of doing a production of Cats, so he went from being a cat to a dog.
perfect, though.
Perfect.
Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Not the same skill set, but I would assume there's some bleed over.
Well, Kevin Peter Hall was a dancer, and he was a suit actor too.
Oh, yeah.
And
Very
like,
physically fit.
they're very big and intimidating, these werewolves.
Yeah.
And like you don't really like we did Bad Moon where he's like hunched over.
Yeah.
But now like they're just opposite. Like
He's
very
more
tall.
bulky. They're lean.
They
Yeah.
are lean
Muscular.
as fuck. And again, it's one of those things that you haven't really seen in, well, maybe the Howling, I would say.
It's definitely less common for sure.
But this is a full range suit.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right? The howling are puppets and guy in suit like split. And technically these are too, but it's an animatronic head on kind of like a skin tight bodysuit.
And they're on stilts
And
too.
stilts, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so they're in this fucking room.
It's fucking awesome.
And Cooper runs in and he like gets knocked over and his weapon's under like the bed and he's trying to reach for it, but he's like kind of fighting the one off that's mostly just standing there and could eviscerate him at any moment, but he's like fighting him off, and then the one in the window he's fighting off, and then he finds the camera. And it's like a chaotic scene.
Oh,
Trying to wake up Sarge. He's like, Sarge, wake up! He's screaming.
They're flashing them like the fucking gremlins, and they're like, I can't see. But this is great because they both wake up, or Sarge wakes up, and he throws him a gun, and then it's just like, and they fucking blow this fucking werewolf out of the window.
It's a still shot on the Blu-ray, but that is the still shot of the menu is fucking Sarge holding the pistol and the machine gun at the werewolf about to unload.
So good. Dogs, more like pussies.
Oh, God. This was the dumb.
This is Terry mouthing off by the window.
Mouthing off by the fucking window.
There's like a piece of tape on the ground, like where it says "Stand here if you want to be pulled out a window."
But the thing is like Terry was the one that got nervous and puked on Sergeant Ryan, and I think there's another scene early on where like, yeah, he was the one that opened fire on the cow.
He is.
So
shot the blanks at it.
Makes sense.
So yeah, it makes sense that like, oh, this was his first ever big kick-ass moment.
That's what he's
and
basking in.
This is what you get for being cocky, Terry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But he also almost got ripped through the window earlier. If it wasn't him, if it was him or one of the other ones.
I think
But
it
it's
was
like,
Joe.
Okay, never mind then. But regardless, he's getting ripped through this time.
He gets fucking yoinked right through.
Yeah. Terry did good, and then that scene is just like, dogs, more like pussies. Closes the curtain as if that's going to block it, and then like, God, it's such a...
You almost just gave yourself a literal blind spot by doing that.
He did.
But yeah, he gets ripped out, and they're like, we gotta save him. And then, like, I think Megan or Ryan's like, he's fucking dead.
He's totally dead, and you know it. And he's like, fuck, you're right.
Spoilers, he wasn't, but they weren't saving his ass.
Well, yes and no.
It's a serious bait situation.
Then there's a little back and forth between Megan and Cooper, and he gives her a lucky rabbit's foot. She's like, "Oh, not lucky for the rabbit, eh?" And he's like, "Well, it depends which way you look at it."
Yeah. Well, he mentioned that earlier to Wells. He's like, "What do you have now for?" He's like, "I got to get all the luck I can get."
So the plan is to hold out until morning, and we're going to barricade ourselves in, and we're just going to hold it out and stick it out. And it turns out that Megan knows Ryan.
Yeah.
Because this is not the first time he's been around these parts looking for these fucking werewolves, and they needed an expert, so they tapped her to, like, tell them about it and take them around.
And they casually forgot to mention this for the last, like, 27 hours or whatever it's been.
Well, he's not telling them, and they all have ulterior motives, you know what I mean?
My understanding was that this was like a later addition to the script. Like, originally it wasn't going to be it. It really was supposed to just be like, Ryan's team comes in with no prior knowledge to the situation. I'm hit or miss about it. I'm like, well, all right, it adds a connection, I guess, and like it just adds more like mystery of like what is really going on here.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we get it in a little bit, but you can kind of pick up the pieces.
Right, yeah.
They send Joe out to the barn and to hotwire the fucking Subaru that's out there.
Oh, yeah. She's
and
like,
Spoonie's
I got another...
a distraction.
Yeah.
Spoonie's a distraction because he's hot and fast or something. They make a joke.
He gets a fucking Ian Malcolm special, dude.
He goes out there with the flare yelling, come get me, you fucking bastards! They chase him and he's going up the rope. They're like, move your ass, soldier! He's like, I'm trying! Going through this small-ass window.
So good.
And there's a great scene. He comes out of the window and he's like, I love it when a posh babe talks dirty to me.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Joe's hotwiring the car.
He makes it,
but he sees Terry, like, reaching out, like, save me!
Dude, the fucking lights come on after he hotwires it, and you just see this werewolf fucking gnawing on dude.
Dude rips his fucking head off, throws it on the fucking hood of
his
the car.
Head off and fucking throws his head on the hood of the car, man.
And Joey's like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like Joe talking about Leatherface, he gets a serious Leatherface treatment because he pulls up to the house, and then coming back to reality because there's a little calmness. Yeah. He just hears the breathing and sees it to the left.
Dude,
of him.
this fucking breath is just coming on his neck, and he's like, "You're right behind me, aren't you?"
Or Jurassic Park with the Newman scene.
I was just gonna say that. I was like, this is so fucking Dennis Nedry, dude. When the Dilophosaurus takes him out because he goes into the back and the car's shaking. There's a blood spray on the front.
Joe.
Screen.
He's like, "Oh fucking have you?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he does at least try to do something. He
Takes
knows
his
he's
combat
dead.
knife out and goes after him.
He tries.
Never got to see the results of his footy game, unfortunately.
Not a game.
All right.
She says
life,
movie.
right?
Yeah.
So that truck is fucking out, dude. But something you notice here is that Sarge is on his feet, walking around,
Yes.
helping people do things all of a sudden.
There's that visual
Yep.
storytelling.
Yeah, there you go.
And they open up the back of the truck and there's this great visual where like all this blood just pours out
And
the
guts
side
and shit.
Oh. And they just see the werewolf like, hello, and they're like, ah, run back in. More fighting at the door.
Ding dong. Woo! Ah!
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hocus pocus for sure.
Yeah. So finally, Ryan spills the beans about what's going on, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's a fucking werewolf project, and it's a military secret ops. It's basically like Umbrella."
Well, yeah, they found out they're out here, so they sent me to capture one alive so we could use it in the military.
Yeah.
It's
Only
like,
one turned out to be them.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's like, all right, how long have you been surveillancing this fucking area? You've been out here already. You're telling me that you special ops intelligence doesn't know that there's a pack of these fucking things out here?
well, right, because that's the whole thing what he was saying earlier. There was always supposed to be one. There was always supposed to be one. And they're like, well, I guess you got bad intelligence.
So come to find out that the team's radios were bugged by the special ops team because they were using them as fucking bait to lure out the werewolves. So they were like tracking them and hoping that the werewolves would attack them and then they can get the jump on them while they were getting attacked.
There's a great line that Ryan says is that your name came up and I remembered you, so I got your team because of, like, Cooper punched Ryan and Ryan's just like, yeah, fuck these guys, let them go.
Right, he's going to have him get killed by werewolves, put him on the other squad,
Well, he says that in the beginning. He's like, I don't give second chances and I never forget. Like, I never let it go or whatever. And he fucking was like, oh, yeah, just picked his ass. Didn't pick his ass up. I saw his name, like you said, and just, there you go.
And now we're at the point where Ryan has basically revealed, for lack of a better term, his evil plot. And is like, well, I guess I'll just hit the button in the back of my head that transforms me into a werewolf. On cue.
I love the scene right before that where Wells punches him. He's just like, they were my men. And I was like, I love you, Wells.
Well, yeah, he's like trying to undermine Wells and just say this all to Cooper. And it's like, he's not actually in charge. I know they have like a back and forth throughout the movie, but it's like, yeah, Wells is totally justified in that shit.
Oh, well, so like the thing is, like, Ryan, because he's not part of the team. I mean, you can talk about the dichotomy between officers and NCOs and whatever, but like the fact is, like, Wells was like this. These are his guys,
Right? Yeah.
Well, Wells punches him in the face, and that's what triggers him turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
He gets the yellow pupils.
Oh, it's cool, man. The contacts, bears the fangs, and this is so fucking
claws
great.
even.
Yeah, and you see him fall behind the table. It's this great shot of like behind the table. You're waiting for him to pop up, and he pops up first, and he starts transforming, and he's all fucked up, and then he falls behind the table, and all of a sudden he just like stands up, and he's a full fucking werewolf.
Do you think that counts as a Texas switch? Does it fill the category?
No.
No,
Alright.
because Texas Switch has to be all on screen at the same time.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I was trying to put a finger on that. It's cool regardless. I was like, does this count?
Yeah, no, it's cool though.
Yeah.
And fucking Coop goes for the sword, and they're like shooting this thing and hitting it with shit, and then Coop fucking stabs the sword through his back, and it comes out of the front of
my
him.
God, yeah.
It's awesome, and then he ends up like jumping out the window and running away.
They need to recognize it later. So they're like,
great.
put the sword in it. We need that.
Ah, it's you.
We tagged it.
Yeah, we tagged it with fucking Isildur.
Yeah, exactly.
Or whatever the fucking name of the sword is.
So then the next plan of is to they try to figure out like where are these werewolves at right now, despite like they figure out that this is their home that they're in.
Yeah, and they're like, it's and the family are the fucking werewolves.
Yeah.
Right, they finally put that together from a while ago when Ryan found the family photo.
And Megan's like, they're good people. You don't have to kill them. And it's like, we're gonna find out later like what they've been doing this whole time.
They're only good people in the context of what we're going to learn very shortly.
They're going to go to the barn because Megan's like, oh, they're all gathering in the barn because that's where they feed and they stay warm or whatever. So the plan is to take the truck that's outside, start it up, and fucking run into the barn and blow it up with this giant gas tank.
Right, because they showed those earlier red barrels in a corn.
Yeah.
Like, those have got to be explosive.
That's the ones that Leon Kennedy shot to fucking blow up the alligator in Resident Evil 2.
Yeah. There's also like a kind of cute moment, this through line with the watch they kind of come back to where Spoon's talking to Cooper like, yeah, you know, I got this watch. I want to just make sure I give it back to the sergeant before this is all over. Like, hopefully nobody dies, more or less, is the whole point he's trying to get across.
Also, like, Spoon brings up the fact that, like, oh, hey, like, this thing happened with Ryan and, you know, Sarge was hit. And, like,
oh, right, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they don't outright say it. Spoon very much is, like, he's just saying, like, about the watch thing. But, like, you can tell, like, that's what's everyone's mind. Because then Wells has his I'm a professional soldier line about being a leader and making the sacrifices and stuff, and like it's a really good scene to show like Wells like he says like, I put my name on the dotted line. I fucking meant it.
Well, Wells even shows like he pulls up his shirt and is like, look, this is fucking healed already. Like I know what I'm turning into. Like he doesn't like flat out say it, but he's like, what you just said. Let's just work through this until we fucking can't, because what can I do?
And he's going to give his life for them in whatever situation that it turns out to be.
But he's literally the polar opposite of Ryan's character, like talking about the stereotypical guy who's infected and doesn't tell anyone. He's the guy that's like, I'm fucking infected. Yeah. Either shoot me or I can help you till I can't. You make that decision.
Yeah.
And he ends up helping them defend the house at the end here.
So they send this fucking truck into the barn, and they're going to trying to light the gas line on fire because there's like a line of gas because they stabbed the fucking fuel line.
Right, yeah.
And Spoon can't get the fucking thing lit, and then Sarge comes running out with this burning log and just fucking throws it down and lights the fire, and like and it like crosses paths as Coop's running back, and this fucking barn explodes. And you're like, oh, there goes all the werewolves.
Well, you're thinking that, but you're also like, there's no fucking way that's how it ends.
And then Megan goes, I'm sorry.
And you're like, wait, what?
The back door was sealed like that fucking safe in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, apparently, because I just had to unlock the door, and now they're all here. They couldn't have possibly just broke the door down like they did 20 other times in the movie.
Well, I think the werewolves are a little apprehensive of breaking their own fucking doors down because they got to repair that shit when they turn back into humans.
Fair enough, fair enough.
This is the one other scene that, like, to me, doesn't really work because, like, Coop is, like, saying, like, oh, women, you're all the same old shit.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, the thing I fear is women and spider women. And Megan's like, being nice to women get you nowhere, being nice to me gets you killed. There's a deleted, like, not scene, it wasn't recorded, but there was a moment where, like, Coop shows these pictures to Sergeant Wells in the beginning about, like, his girlfriend he met they're at a bar, and then the pictures keep showing, like, the girl breaking up with Coop and then going with another guy, which, unfortunately, very typical with, like, it happens. I can't, like, I don't want to diverge too much.
Sure,
but, It makes sense with this scene in here where he's talking about same old shit with women and everything, but like Megan and Coop are the only ones who really converse with each other in the movie. They're the only ones that have their moments together. So like making Coop the like woman hater of the group doesn't to me make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Without that other scene in context.
Sure.
Yeah.
But then apparently if you're not transformed fully, like if you're only partially transformed, because she does like the eye and mouth thing like Liam Cunningham, apparently you just shoot him in the head and that kills him.
Well, also, let's not forget that she's like, yeah, I've just been living here with these fucking people, and like Cooper puts it together that like, oh, she's not in the picture because she took the fucking picture of the family.
Oh, well, right, yeah.
And she's like, oh, you were a werewolf the whole time, and there is no other house. This is just where you live. And she's like, yeah, well, I didn't want this. I thought you were going to save me.
Yeah, bullshit. You also moved out here a year ago.
Yeah,
okay.
She's almost like a Patrick McNee character.
A little bit.
From The Howling, like the doctor. Except she is a werewolf.
Well, right, yeah. But like I just said, they just shoot her in the head because like, fuck this. And I guess it works because she's not full werewolf. Yeah. Because we never see her again.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone gets separated, and this is what I meant before about like you have a layout of the house already established, so like you know where people are. Spoon's in the kitchen, Wells and Cooper upstairs, and like just bedlam, the whole thing.
Dude, it's so fucking good.
I love Wells. What is he in, like this closet or bathroom?
He's in the closet.
I'm in a closet, and he's got like a light stick in his mouth, and he's got like a fucking bottle of hairspray and a lighter, like burning this thing's face.
Yeah, as it's trying to break through the door.
Spoon has a fucking honest to goodness fisticuffs fight with this fucking werewolf, dude. It's great.
Punches a fang out of a mouth.
He fucking roundhouse kicks a fang out of its mouth, and he's like fucking body shotting it and punching it and shit. The only thing I can think of is that this is like the kid who's a werewolf.
Oh, maybe, yeah. So he can stand up to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, a second werewolf walks in, and I read they didn't have the budget to film his death.
Yeah.
We just
Honestly, it's so effective as it is.
Yeah, it does work great.
But how do you forget Spoon going Sam Wide Gamgee on him with the frying pan?
He's fucking hamming him with this fucking frying pan.
Well, he gets turned into a blob of guts that is getting eaten the next time we see him.
God, his line too at the end is like, I hope I give you this shit, you fucking wimp.
We didn't even say all his one-liners. He's got a lot of good ones in there.
He's got some
British balls of steel. He has.
That was the Zulu when he was talking about the Zulu thing.
Yeah.
But he's just a fucking pile of goo later.
And the dog's watching, like, you're not sure what the dog's thinking because even the werewolf's kind of like going up to its face, which that's their pet. I don't know how that adds up.
I think the dog's like, I want some. And the dog's like, get the fuck out of here.
You get yours later.
He ain't like Thor. He's not the good as boys, but Sam is still okay.
He is.
Yeah. And then so Coop's in the bathroom. He breaks through the wall, like he breaks it apart with a piece of the faucet. And then the werewolf comes through that door and then shoves the faucet into his head.
That was cool.
Yeah.
So good.
And then like they break through the wall and to go into like a bedroom, and then they find themselves in the wardrobe.
They're like
they go inside there,
Yeah, they're like in between the wall.
Yeah.
And there's like skeletons and shit in there, and they like shoot a hole in the floor and they fucking fall through. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, into
Literal
the kitchen.
skeletons in the closet.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
They're in the kitchen giving their like final stand, and Wells is like, "Take the fucking dog and get out of here."
Take the photo reel too.
And the
They've been
photo
taking-
reel.
Yeah.
Because I actually like that a lot, because I was thinking that you keep using this camera to stun these monsters, and I'm
Yeah.
like, are they going to show that in any capacity? It's
pretty great.
They don't show every photo, but there's enough where I'm like, all right, they followed through.
Yeah, but it's still fun, like
No,
how,
I like
how
it.
they implement
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So he goes in this basement, this crawl space that opens up in the kitchen floor. And now Wells, he cuts the gas line on the oven and is just waiting. He
He's
has
in
the
the
lighter.
middle of transforming.
Yeah, his fucking eyes are turning yellow. He's waiting for them all to come in. He's going to spark this lighter.
Now, supposedly they only had one set of contacts, so like, and
They all use the same?
and because they filmed in chronological order, apparently Sean Pertwee still has like the contacts, and Liam Cunningham makes jokes that like, yeah, he still got them from me.
That's kind of cool. Okay, I was just assuming his eyes were just fucked now.
Those fucking things are expensive, dude. You're talking about like $600 or $700 for a pair, maybe even
Really?
$900. Yeah, for like sclera contacts like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like really good ones.
Yeah. So I like this one scene where all the werewolves come into the kitchen to get at him. And like I said, the two main ones were like professional dancers. But like you can see another one as a quick shot. He's like holding himself up, trying not to fall.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's like he's wobbling.
It's like, oh, it's almost a good shot.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But it's kind of cool because it looks like it's like walking.
Yeah, he's
in
like,
that.
So then, like, he can't get this lighter to go, and then, like, as he's about to light it, they just knock it out of his fucking hand.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, shit.
He last ditch, dude. He fucking hits the igniter on the stove
He
and
Fonzies it.
kaplooey.
I don't know how Cooper and the dog are even alive. This is like 100 pounds of C4. Like, holy shit.
It's the natural gas or the propane tank exploding. Look. If you're not killed by the blast, all that shit's falling down into the basement and crushing
Just
you.
choking on the smoke alone.
Yeah. But you see fucking like werewolf heads explode.
That's cool.
And shit is really neat.
I'm calling it movie magic with how Coop survives.
100%.
Yeah. And then like he's sitting there and he decides to like walk into another part of the basement that they didn't see, and then you see all the dead bodies floating around.
They're like the little pantry.
Yeah,
They're all like down there.
He did say earlier the bodies disappeared. Where did they disappear to?
They're making fucking pastrami and salami down there.
They're making that stew because there's that line before. They're like, "What's this stew? It smells like pork."
They need Stan Laurel and Oliver Hardy from March of the Wooden Soldiers there to check the meat and be like, all right, it's not pig or pork. It's fucking beef. It's human.
It's Spoon.
It's Spoon. Yeah, exactly. But
There is no spoon.
Only Zool.
oh yeah, they do make that joke earlier. And
Now, supposedly, like the Matrix came out before the movie came out.
that's the reference. It's Matrix, not Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
but
yeah. And supposedly, like they didn't know it was the Matrix, but it's like I don't know. But
oh yeah,
Wells does get his watch back in that pulp of just spoon.
yeah.
There's that through line. He got his watch back.
He got his watch back, right?
Right.
But yeah, as he's down there looking at these dead bodies, Super Shredder comes in. I mean,
Dude,
Ryan with the sword through the chest.
Dude, when he fucking smacks that pillar, I'm like, oh, that's
I
real
know.
Kevin Nash move.
He holds this motherfucker by the throat, kind of Bad Moon style, the Dennis the Menace.
Dude, he grabs Cooper and he's still got the sword through his chest and he's like pushing it towards his face and the sword's going in his mouth and like scraping his teeth.
And you hear
That
the
is-
scrape too. It's like,
It's
ooh.
awesome.
And then Sam comes in and helps, and like I made this point with you before.
The dog,
like,
yeah.
the dog. Like this is the only werewolf that the dog attacks, and it's like, oh, because he's not part of the original pack.
Yeah, good thing he let that dog out of the trap at the beginning of the game so that it came back to fight him with El Gigante.
Hey, it's that dog.
You're not even wrong, because he lets it out of like a cupboard.
Yeah.
And then like he's knocked to the floor after this thing is grinding on his fucking teeth, this claymore, and he just happens to find the fucking item that can help him win, the letter opener from the cold opening.
Well, it's like that
Chekhov's little opener.
It's like that Texas Chainsaw thing where they keep all the affects of the people they
yeah.
kill. So it's like that's why it's on the ground there.
It does make sense. I'm just like, okay, movie, you needed to end this somehow, and this is where you landed. Okay.
So he takes this fucking letter opener and he stabs Ryan right in the chest, and you hear it's like almost magical, kind of.
Because you hear it sizzle.
It's like
yeah.
They said there's no CGI in this film, but if there is at all, it might be that shot.
There definitely is some.
There's got to be a little bit.
Very little, I would assume, because it's mostly practical. by the
Maybe
looks
it's
of it.
practical composited.
Maybe,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
But for whatever reason, I guess the silver weakens it, but he fucking puts one right between this fucking thing's eyes and pulls the trigger, and his fucking brains go all over the place.
Yeah, silver doesn't kill, it just gives that weakness. It opens up the weakness.
It's so great, dude. And then, like, he's dead, and Coop goes upstairs and walks through the door, but, like, when he walks through the door, you see the whole building's, like, collapsed, and he's got little Sam with him, and the sun is shining.
The dog that may be a werewolf, because there's really no way to check until it transforms, but yeah, sure.
The real Thor situation. It's just a bad dream.
But we do get this final joke here, where we get the newspaper article spins and hits the screen, and it's like, oh yeah, man finds werewolves, page 9, and then massive lettering, England beats Germany 5-1.
It's like a tabloid, like Weekly World News or some shit, like Bigfoot marries Elvis.
National Enquirer.
Yeah.
It's kind of classic.
The Sun or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And then it fades to credits.
It's great, man, because, like, you also get pictures from in the camera.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was mentioning earlier, yeah.
And, like, it's all developed, and it's like, ka-ching, and it shows, like, pictures of the werewolves and shit, so I just thought that was neat that they brought that back.
I wish we got some more, but the fact that they even did it at all, I'm like, all right, you took some time out of the production to do that, I'm happy.
Set up some payoffs.
Yeah.
That's a lot of this movie.
And yeah, man, that about wraps it up. So where are we putting this?
Oh, this is definitely on the shelf. I think as I'm like talking about this is one of those ones that I liked regardless. Yeah. But I was like, it's like a 3 out of 5. But this might, like, after our conversation and think that happens sometimes.
It's one of those, man. It's one of those.
It might be a 4 out of 5. But again, now you start going down that rabbit hole. Was it a 4 or 5? How many stars? I liked it. Is the point. Again, I said it earlier. I've said it on the show many times, especially on those live shows. I don't know why I waited so long. Part of it was kind of like a bit by the end here of just, oh, wait till I do Movie Dumpster.
Yeah.
I'll wait. I shouldn't have waited, is what I'm saying. I should have watched this fucking thing back when it came out. It's great. I still think I prefer Bad Moon and American Werewolf in London, but again, another rabbit hole I could be going down. I'm going down all the fucking rabbit holes. I'm going to be down there with Norm and the damn groundhog from fucking Caddyshack. The cinematography in this is awesome. I did complain a little bit about the editing, but I think 95% of the editing's great. Just here or there, I think Marshall went a little too hard on those quick cuts. And I'm a fan of quick cuts, jump cuts, generally speaking. I just think, tone it down a tiny bit there, Neil. Maybe you figured out in Descent and you just hired somebody else. But overall, very good job doing this basically yourself, writing, directing, editing it. It's pretty fucking impressive. And coming up with a concept that you would think had been done already. And I guess if you want to split hairs, I'm sure someone could think of something, but I feel like this is such an original concept that hasn't been replicated in this way. Like, yeah, Aliens happened. Other Siege movies have happened. Yeah, Mosquito is fucking on some level a Siege movie.
But not with werewolves.
Exactly. And I would like to see this idea explored more in the future, but now we're like how many years removed, and I feel like, again, unless we're just not thinking of those movies, they either don't exist or there's not enough out there that we even know about them. And just a bunch of guys just kind of banding together, fighting fucking monsters in a house always works, rarely does not. You got to kind of try to fuck that one up, in my opinion, and they absolutely did not here. They knocked it out of the park, and all the characters are very likable. Liam Cunningham, I was kind of hoping he'd be a good guy, but he plays the bad guy great here, and I kind of love him. He's one of those actors, like you guys were talking about some of these other actors in the film that popped up. It's like, he's an actor when he pops up. It's like, all right, this is going to be at least decent because Liam Cunningham's fucking here. And plus everybody else, obviously. Yeah. He's just the one that sticks out in my mind. And yeah, very good. On the shelf. Would watch it again.
I'm going to say, man, like, you're kidding, right? This is not just on my shelf. It's been on my shelf for years. Yeah. Loved it before I enlisted. Loved it after I enlisted. I pretty much made all my points in the video. Out of all the military movies I've seen over the years, this is the one that I connect to the most, because this is the one that these characters are very much like the ones that I've worked with in my life. And it just is a huge kinship with that with me then. Obviously, as a werewolf movie, it also fucking works as well. Like, the werewolves themselves look great. The action is very, we talked again, like, you know, you see it, everything. You have a good, conscious acknowledgement of, like, where everything is. It's really not that hard to follow. Everyone's on point. It definitely benefits from just a really, really tight script, which I've mentioned a couple times. They changed, but not too bad. And I've had my complaints, but, like, honestly, as a fan, that's the only way I could find those complaints is like watching it over and over and picking up on all these things. And it's like, wait, hold on, that doesn't work. But it's all forgiven. Like, it's one of my favorite werewolf movies, one of my favorite movies on the shelf, the only 4K I own because I don't have a 4K player. So yeah.
Before you give your thought, Joe,
Yeah.
I do want to say one thing, if anything, that detracts from this movie, because it is a werewolf movie, and I've complained about this in other films involving monsters that transform. We never do get that transformation. We get a lot of implied things, and that table scene is as close as we're going to get.
But that's okay.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
If I had to detract, I got to at least mention that, just to be consistent here. But I don't think it hurts the movie in this rare case.
Sure. This is definitely on the shelf. This is a unique film, and I ever since the first time I saw it on the Sci-Fi Channel on that little tube 4x3 television, it was just like, this is something special. You know what I mean? And I just want to echo some of the things you said, because I think it's this ambitious independent film. Look, let me tell you something. One of the hardest fucking movies to make and make good is a werewolf movie.
Yeah.
Okay? Because you really, really need to sell the creature when it comes down to brass tacks, right? And I think they totally accelerate in that. I think it was really smart the way they did it, because it seems like they put a lot of money into the head portions. They didn't go like, it's a full suit for sure, but it's minimalist suit. And it actually lends this really special look to these monsters, because they're like we said, they're lean. There's not a lot of hair on them, which I really like. You see some of the muscle tone and things like that. And I love the stilts to have that kind of like inverted dog leg thing going on, and to make them more tall and menacing. And what they did with the budget for that is, I think, is fucking incredible. It's shot really well. The acting is fucking so good. And I'm going to echo, what Smith said in terms of like the acting and the camaraderie of these guys. It feels real. It feels gritty and dirty and like it could be actually happening kind of thing.
It does.
And we mentioned it as we were talking through it, and we were saying, having Megan there kind of detracts from it a little bit.
She's a plot dumper.
She's a plot dumper, and it's like, it kind of, that's my only really disconnect with this, is that point of it. I could have dealt without that. I think we could have got that exposition easily enough from Ryan by himself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or if just an audio fucking tape they find even. Yeah, that's true.
Or more clues alluding to the fact that the family is the werewolves, which is creepier on its own, in my opinion, rather than somebody just spelling it out for you.
Yeah.
And you kind of put that together. And it kind of has, that commune howling feeling that I mentioned before, too. This is in my top 5. This is of all time werewolf movies. And I think it shows as a first-time director, Neil Marshall, like first-time feature-length director. I mean, this is fucking incredible shit, right? And then this lets him go on to do The Descent, which is really a masterpiece of a film. It's super fun. It's everything you want in a movie like this, and like Sean said, it's kind of the only movie of its kind with dealing with werewolves in this way, where it's a siege movie, but it's like Aliens, and there's multiple werewolves, and there's a really good plot.
A peppering of Night of the Living Dead.
A peppering of Night of the Living Dead. And you know what I was thinking of when I was watching this? A Mosquito.
I said that earlier,
you mentioned it, but
the end fight part.
But even in terms of like the plot of how that kind of goes, where like they're out and they get chased into this house and that kind of stuff. I think it works.
It's organized
really well.
differently, but I see what you're saying.
No, yeah, it's not the same, but similar.
Yeah.
I'd like to do a big shout out to Janine's book that I've been like kind of lifting from for a lot of things.
Yeah.
Beautifully made as a hardcover from the publisher. It's super informative. If you're a big fan of the movie, pick up a copy of Sausages. It's very much a making of book, but also very much a fan book. Janine herself is very much a big fan of the story. A lot of great interviews from all the actors and crew involved. Great intro by Joe Dante. A great afterword by John Landis. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. And it's got those pepperings of all those films that you just mentioned. It's got a little bit of American Werewolf. It's got a little bit of The Howling. It's got a little bit of Night of the Living Dead. It's got a little bit of Aliens. And I think this is made with love by somebody who loves the genre. And I think Neil really did a really good job at putting all of the influences into it without making it tongue-in-cheek or like you know, like
There's some campy moments, but it isn't campy.
No, but I mean, it could be really corny.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's what
with
I mean,
homages, and I think it's done in a tasteful, fun way.
Like those references you don't really get until like you watch a lot of it over and over.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah, Sergeant Wells, H.G. Wells, Bruce Campbell, Ryan makes a Sound of Music reference, chasing after that last kiss. Or first kiss, chasing that first kiss.
It's very subtle though.
Yeah. Spoon makes a Star Trek reference, which both like is a reference, but also kind of in character because Spoon makes the Rorschach reference, and now he makes Star Trek. Like it shows that guy's like a big nerd character.
Yeah, and don't forget the Shout Factory 4K that you mentioned and Blu-ray. I mean, I seem to remember there being problems with finding this negative. Or maybe I'm wrong. I felt like there was some kind of problems at some point, but the way that it's cleaned up is good. It's nice and crisp, and the colors are good and everything, and the blacks are good. But they don't detract from like any of the film grain and stuff that was used. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about before. It's not like overly clean. Right. You know what I mean? It might not be exactly super fuzzy VHS TV quality or like upscale to a DVD quality.
Standard edition DVD.
But I don't think it detracts. I think it only enhances the experience for this. But you could just as easily pop this in or throw that old DVD in and have just as good as the time in a different way.
Exactly.
Yeah, but I think it's a great disc. So yeah, man, it's fucking great. On the shelf forever and always. Dog Soldiers. All right, got a little something for you before we wrap this up.
Oh my God, no! Oh my goodness!
Got a little something for you before we wrap this one up, bud.
Shit.
Hold on, here we go. Now, I just want to preface this with the fact that I'm sorry that I missed your birthday.
I was there.
Sean was there.
I was there.
On that rare occasion where Sean goes out, he was there.
You're not wrong at
all. I could not make it because I had prior commitments that I could not break, unfortunately. It was business, not pleasure, so let's put it that way. I wish I was there to celebrate with you, but I wasn't, so we wanted to do something special for you because we knew you were coming down. So happy birthday, Smith.
Happy belated. Very belated by the time we drop this episode.
That adds the mystery.
Everyone watching the video version can now see Joe struggle with the candle.
Oh, my goodness.
It's supposed to sing, but it's not. So, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chris Smith. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish, my man.
I wish a good sequel for Dog Soldiers.
You're not supposed to tell us. Hey!
Well, it ain't gonna ever happen anyway.
I know. Oh, that's so. Oh my God.
And a very happy birthday to you, my man. I'm sorry that I missed it. So there it is.
I'm caught off guard. I don't know what to say.
The sad thing is, I'm gonna be taking this home with me. This guy Corey keeps knocking on my door. He says he wants his mask back or something, so I'm gonna go give it back to him with this.
Oh, and I thought you were talking about the ice cream cake.
I'm gonna stab the shit out of him.
Oh, gotcha.
Fuck Halloween ends.
Oh, okay.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And before we get out of here completely, where can everybody find Taking a Page and all your stuff, dude?
You can find me on YouTube with the name CB Smith. My tentpole series is Taking a Page. I talk about books, adaptations, and history. If you want werewolves, unfortunately, a Howling episode is planned in a couple years, so wait on that. Military related, though, I did do an episode of Full Metal Jacket and the story that is based off the Short Timers a couple years back. So that was a lot of fun. So check that out.
Thank you, Sergeant Smith.
Whoop.
And if you want some more Movie Dumpster content, make sure to go to patreon.com/moviedumpster. You can get an ad-free audio version of the show for only $2 a month, and you can get some really great stuff for the $5 or $10 tier, a whole back catalog of watch-alongs, commentary tracks, and mini-sodes. So if you got some extra scratch, support your favorite show.
And if you're watching here on YouTube, please like the video and share it, and subscribe if you're not already. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, please leave a like and a 5-star review. It really does help get the show out to more folks and, grow this dumpster community. Get the show into more eyeballs, eardrums, and everything in between.
Those reviews really help the show. That means more to us than you buying a shirt or donating to Patreon or any of that stuff. Please leave a review. It helps the show the most. But if you want some more stuff or go to check out that store, you can go to moviedumpsterpodcast.com. We've got a full store. We got a full calendar of stuff. You can see where the Dumpster Boys are at, what we're doing. We're going to be at VHS Fest in July, and we're going to be at Monster Mania Con in August. So we hope to see you there, and come say hi.
I'm bringing my knife.
So that's it. That's Dog Soldiers from 2002, directed by Neil Marshall. I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
I'm CB Smith.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.